It is 6 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. To the NHL we go. The Toronto Maple Leafs defeated the Nashville Predators 3-0 last night in Toronto. Leafs goalie Jack Campbell made 24 saves for the shutout. Meanwhile, UC Saros had a pretty good game despite giving up 3 goals. He stopped 31 shots for the Preds. Just their second regulation loss in their last 11 games. Nashville in third place in the Central Division, just 2 points behind first place Winnipeg. Titans activated outside linebacker Derek Roberson from injured reserve to the 53-man roster. They also signed linebacker Dylan Cole to the active roster from the practice squad and signed wide receiver Cody Hollister to the practice squad. Top 7 teams in college football in the college football playoff: Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, Cincinnati, Michigan, and Michigan State all won this past weekend. They remain 1 through 7 in the latest rankings that were released yesterday. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. On over the Titans and the Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Stores in Nashville. Glad to be with you here on this Wednesday, Scout Meeting Wednesday. First time we've seen the Texans, so we will look over what they can do for us a little bit later on in the program. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Jason Martin, at Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. Mike Golic Jr. will join the program today, which is always a blast. Rhett, Bryan, also always a blast. He will join us a little bit later on in the show. Inky Johnson with midweek motivation today. So certainly a lot on the docket. I'm at home. If you can hear my voice, you can probably tell exactly why. Just not feeling grand and wanting to make sure that everything's all right before I walk back into a studio. So I'm here at the house. I guess you can probably see that on Zone TV, but Moan's in the studio. Schaefer's in the studio. And we're going to do the best that we can. Say that. Yeah, you can call me loafing. What's going on, Moan?
Not much, Jay. Everybody's confused as who's robs your voice, man.
I don't know. It's not CG.
Everybody's suggesting you need some milk, that you got kidnapped. Who is that? It's a lot of stuff going on right now, Jay. You're confusing a whole lot of people, but I get it. I understand that, man. The elements, the weather changing, and you know what? I'd rather you err on the side of caution than to come in and not feel like yourself. So, hey, good luck. We're still going to clown you, though, just so you know.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's good. You're gonna make me wish I told our program director no when he left the decision up to me, and I was like, oh, I can probably do it from home. It won't be the easiest 4 hours of my life, but we'll get through it as best we can. But hopefully, it's not going to be the kind of results going to keep me out of there for a while. But I'm going to the doctor after the show because crumminess abounds right now. Got aches all over and everything else. But enough of the victimology.
Yeah. I mean, you almost lost your wedding ring yesterday.
Monday,
Yeah, Monday. Then you get sick today, man. Hard times are real.
Sometimes that we all ride the struggle bus. Gary Barta said yesterday, set aside watching the games, though that's certainly a part of it, but statistically in just about every category, offensively and defensively, Michigan comes out on top over Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
Set aside watching the games. Let's look at the statistics. But Ohio State is ranked 4th and Oregon 3rd. And in most categories, especially in strength of schedule and efficiency, Ohio State's far above Oregon. But they basically made 1 point to allow for one thing and 1 point to allow for another thing. And then we get back to the deal. Can you believe that in 2021, we still crown a champion in college football with something that seems so antiquated.
Yeah.
Like it seems so nuts, and I know you can't do it the same way you can in the NFL because there's not that much overlap between opponents. But set aside watching the games, I was pretty sure that's the whole reason there was college football to begin with, is because games were played that we were supposed to watch. Or am I crazy?
No, that's exactly what it is, and I think we're getting to that point also where you saw Herb Street and God, what's his name? The black guy on the committee too was that host with him on the college football.
Desmond Howard.
Yeah, no, not Desmond. The other guy. Golly, what is his name? I hate forgetting his name. But they actually had a little bit of an argument last night when trying to justify one side versus another as far as who's supposed to be in the top 4 or even the top 5 at that matter. Between Cincinnati, Ohio State, and Oregon. Those going to be the trio of teams in which we got to decide on what's right and who deserves to be ranked where, Jay. This is it's getting very confusing when it fully breaks down to what matters in this college football playoff, man. Like you said, it should be more simple because the game should matter. These teams should go up against, if not for anything, common opponents, or the schedule should be slated a certain way when it comes down to judging, who ranks where and who does what as far as whenever these rankings come out. Because, again, Alabama loses to Georgia from what they were saying last night, then they're out. That puts Cincinnati back in. But, of course, everybody will make the case for Alabama again and say, hey, they deserve to be in the top 4 because we think they're a better team. They just happen to lose to A&M at a bad time and Georgia, who could potentially beat them in the SEC championship at the worst time also. So there's a lot behind this. And I honestly, again, maybe the BCS was correct, Jay, in how they went about it. It was terrible in the beginning.
No.
You say no.
BCS was trash too.
Well, at least we figured out
it was trash
through the computer. This right here is people making the case for it. This is ridiculous.
The BCS was trash. This, in my opinion, was better. This is trash.
And
we're not facing the fact that in Division 1A football, FBS football, there's 2 divisions. You have the Power 5, you have the Group of 5. The Group of 5 is a tier down from the Power 5. Creative playoff structure based on conference champions in that Power 5. We need to finally call this what this is that you have 2 distinct divisions in 1A FBS. So because we're not calling it what it is, we have these ridiculous contraptions that we call BCS, college football playoff, beauty contest. You have to win 78-0 every week if you're Cincinnati. This is the reality of the situation, but we don't want to deal with it.
And that's what it's turned into. Like, it's almost insane to expect Cincinnati to absolutely just boat race every single body. Like, either they are that good or they're not. And it sucks for them because they're actually that good. And they should at least be in a position. But, of course, everybody will say, well, they'll get inside the playoffs and get boat raced by everybody. Well, that's not what we're judging about. We're judging by are they good, are they not, or is it justified as far as them being able to get into this college football playoffs? It is a lot. And right now, I honestly feel like we're at a point with them judging these teams and ranking these teams where it's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of bias that's going into putting these teams into the top 4. Again, I honestly thought Mississippi, Ole Miss would have been higher. They're still ranked 12th in this ranking too. So I really don't know, or what's actually after this, or we just got to live with this controversy week in and week out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Ole Miss point, I was surprised that they were 12th.
Yeah,
they beat A&M, and Wake Forest is 10th, and Wake Forest is a 1-loss team, but. I mean, which team do you really think is better and has done more this year? It seems like Ole Miss has, right? Like, because the ACC's been kind of terrible. Wake hadn't even played Clemson yet. They play them this week, and I hope they beat them because this is definitely the year to do that. But on the flip side, like, Ole Miss is a similar team to Wake in that it's a team that usually scores a ton of points. But the difference is the Ole Miss team that I saw against Texas A&M guys played defense. Like they looked better all across the landscape, and I don't think that they benefited at all from a win over a team that, had they run the table, they could have ended up in the SEC championship game instead of Alabama. You beat a team that was that high up in the SEC West and it didn't seem to do much at all to raise your profile with the College Football Playoff Committee. I just think the arbitrariness, and as you said, Mom, the bias and all this, like I was reading Heather Dinich at ESPN, and she was saying that the most important thing for Notre Dame in the last 2 weeks, according to the committee, is to look like a top 4 team.
Yeah.
All due respect. What the hell does that mean?
Yep.
What does that mean? If you were trying to say who looks like a top 4 team in the NFL right now, like the Titans didn't necessarily look like one on Sunday, but they are one. Dallas is a top 4 team right now, but Dallas got absolutely housed by the Broncos, who aren't very good the week before. We can do this all the way up and down.
So they'd almost say like the Rams looks like a top 4 team, even with their losses. Yeah.
But they're absolutely not. And I understand that style points have to play into it to some degree, but gosh, it just feels like there should be a better way. There has to be a better way than this. And I know this encourages debate and discussion, and maybe that's that gets interest on college football. But whether it's 8, I know 6 was discussed, whether it's 8 or whether it's 12, it's going to help out a little bit. I do not like a universe in which a Power 5 conference champion doesn't get an opportunity to play for the national title. I think there needs to be some kind of a middle ground between what I think is way too many teams in the NCAA tournament, which makes it really unnecessary to watch college basketball for much of the year, because if you're good at all, you're probably getting in.
Oh, no doubt.
And then you can watch it at that point. Maybe you look at the old Division II model and, give us 8, but there needs to be more than 4. And when you look at it, it still feels like it's Georgia and a bunch of other teams I don't trust. But Notre Dame is being mentioned a lot. Look, Notre Dame beat a Virginia team, didn't have its quarterback on Saturday, and they've got 2 more games left. They've already lost to Cincinnati. And we're saying, hey, if they look the part, they'll get in over Cincinnati. That one I can't abide by. Like, I understand they've played a tougher schedule than Cincinnati, but head-to-head should matter, right?
Yeah, it should. And it was Kirk Herbstreit and Joey Galloway, too, by the way. They had a nice little disagreement on what was what. And, Jay, you brought up that point, too, about Notre Dame. I'm looking down this list, and lo and behold, they've crept themselves back into the top 8. And I just don't know if I'm still okay with them being in the top 8, man. Again, I know Oklahoma lost to a bad team, but I still at this point probably put Oklahoma ahead of Notre Dame, just because I don't think, me personally, I would probably be biased against this one, or biased against Notre Dame. I don't know if they are a top 8 team.
Oklahoma's been trash.
I know they have been too, but I don't look at Notre Dame as saying like, yeah, they deserve.
No, they're both trash. Put them both in the bin.
Trash.
Take them out. Take them out back.
They need to both be out of the top 10 the way I look at it.
Well,
if we're being real.
I don't think Notre Dame has been trash. They've lost 1 game. And they've played some decent opponents. They played teams that you thought were going to be better than they actually were. And they play teams from across the country because of the way their schedule sets up. I could see them around top 10. I think Ole Miss should be ranked ahead of them.
Yeah, I do too.
That's my personal opinion. I think there are teams beneath them that you could put above them. I also think there are teams above them maybe you could put beneath them. Like I said, it's great for discussion, but it always leaves us with a sour taste at the end. It's like, did we really ground the right champion? Because did everybody that should have gotten a shot get a shot? 615-737-1045. That's the telephone number, 737-1045. Busy day. Your thoughts on the college football playoff? We will take them. Also, Scout Meeting Wednesday.
Yeah.
When we come back, we will scout the Houston Texans. That's a football team, ladies and gentlemen, that also plays in the AFC South. That is an NFL franchise, despite what you might believe. So we'll look at the Titans opponent when we come back. It's JMart and Ramon here on 104.5 The Zone.
The car shopping experience now is a little bit different. It's I don't want to really want to call it weird, but let's just say prices are high. You don't really know what you're gonna get if you trade in a car or what the actual price of a car you're looking to buy is worth. There's a lot of stress that goes into it. And we know buying a car is a major financial commitment and it's often an overwhelming process. Evans has been taking the stress out of the entire car shopping process for over 50 years. And they've been keeping track of everything that's happening in the market to help you shop with confidence. And when I say shop with confidence, well, they can help you figure out what the appraisal of your car is. A lot of people don't know that, and that's probably one of the most high anxiety moments that you'll have walking onto a car lot is how much can I get for my car? Well, I'm here to tell you, Evans is here to help you out. Used car prices and values are continuing to climb to a new record high. And I'm telling you this, I've seen people trade in cars after a few years and still get almost close to what they bought it for. And I'm telling you this, Evans is here to make it very simple for you to get the car that you're looking for, find out the value of it, and make it as stress-free as possible. As I told you before, Evans has been helping out and giving car shopping advice for over 50 years, and they have a price guidance all in one spot. Evans give you the resources for every part of the process of buying or selling your car. You can use their online tools to build your budget or calculate your financing options. And they will ensure any listing is a fair deal with built-in deal ratings. Get a free online appraisal in under 1 minute with options for a real cash offer from participating dealerships. No personal information required. I know that to be true. I went to the website and I did that myself. Got the valuation of my truck and it was easy. You can spend less time stressing at dealerships and get the most out of the car shopping done before you even leave your home. Once you know how much your trade-in is worth, you can set your budget and start searching for a new or used vehicle near you. Car shopping can be stressful. Edmunds is here to help. Visit Edmunds.com to get your free online appraisal today and start searching for a vehicle in your area. That's EDMUNDS.com for cars. There's Edmunds. And thank you to Edmunds for sponsoring JMart and Ramon.
Welcome back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, I'm Jason Martin. We're at JMart and Ramon. We talked a lot of college football play out there in the first segment. I'm sure we'll jump back into it. If we get phone calls, we'll jump to those as well. But the Houston Texans are on the docket for the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. The Titans' 6-game win streak, as you know, on Wednesdays. We turn the page from what happened on Sunday, and we open up the scouting notebook on Scout Meeting Wednesday to try and determine some of what we are likely to see from the opposition for your Titans on Sunday. And so, Moan, you usually have a ton of notes, but I know you did say yesterday, I don't really want to scout the Texans. And I get it. I don't know that we necessarily want to watch Titans versus Texans, but we're going to have to do it anyway because 60 minutes is going to determine a winner.
Even as I said that, though, looking up the Houston Texans and what they are, I'll say this is probably the most interesting team I've seen this year, though. I will say that, man. There's a lot, honestly, riding on this week. And one, you playing against a dangerous team. And I say dangerous not in the sense that, they can beat you. Well, they can beat you. They're 1-8 right now is their record. But right now, towards the middle of November, December, you'll see a bunch of teams, hey, they have really not a whole lot to lose. And that's the way I'm kind of looking at this Houston Texans team, is they don't have a whole lot to lose right now. And because of that, they'll do anything to win. And what better way to do it than against the Titans on the road, against a divisional opponent, to try to reset your season, reset your holiday. Heck, if they get a win this Sunday, then they walk into Thanksgiving with a dub on their record. That's where you got to kind of look at this team, man. And we were always told as players, look, when teams play us, my old team, they want to reset their season by beating us because we were usually good. And this is what this Titans team is right now. You're going to run into a bunch of bad opponents right now because you got to see the Texans and you also got to see the Jags and a couple other bad teams too. And the more you win in this league, the bigger the target on your back is. You think people are talking about you now. Well, people want to see you lose when you win the way that you are because, again, a lot of people don't believe the Titans are this good. A lot of people don't want to believe that you can continue to win without Derrick Henry, and a lot of people are going to take their shot when they get that opportunity to, and I think that's what you're going to see this upcoming weekend from the 1-8 Houston Texans. So as we dive in a little bit into this team, just keep a cautious outlook on them. I'll say this, it's an interesting team. A bad team, but very interesting. Again, they're 1-8. Titans lead the series 21-17 games. And the Titans have won the last 3. Might as well continue that streak going. Again, right now, Houston is coming off of a bye. They need a reset. And right this year in 2021, I looked it up too, teams coming off of bye just to see what the trend is. And you got 7 teams coming off with a dub off of a bye versus what is it? I think 7 with a loss and 1 with a tie, and that was Detroit coming off the bye against Pittsburgh. So this is going to be an interesting thing for them. And I tried to find some history of the Texans coming off their bye, too. I found an article from 2019 that basically said the Texans are really good coming out of a bye. They've won a majority of their games coming off of a bye, considering they get a little bit healthy, and their games have also been on the road, too. Culley has been said in an article yesterday. David Culley, the head coach of the Houston Texans, said in an article yesterday, they're playing to win, and where a lot of people suggesting that they play for draft stock. They try to get as high of a pick as they can, and he said, no, my team doesn't feel that way, and I don't feel that way. So expect to get their best shot as they come into Nissan Stadium. So again, David Culley is their head coach. First game of the season is the only game they've won against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I put down, man, they're a broken franchise right now. Honestly, Bill O'Brien and what he did to them as their acting GM and head coach and trading off stock and trading guys away and giving up draft capital, this is a depleted franchise at where they stand right now. When there's a such thing as hitting rock bottom, I honestly feel like the Houston Texans are as close to rock bottom as you can get as an organization, man. They traded away the one player that I thought could bring some pizzazz, some jolt of confidence to them, and that was Mark Ingram. He's now with the Saints. The other side of it is the guy that they traded for, Larry Tunsil. It was also conversation that he was on the trading block this year also, but he's on IR. Christian Kursky, a linebacker who I think is one of the better young linebackers in this league. I played against him a few times. He's on IR right now also. Just a whole lot of nothing going on with this offense. With this team. So offensively, they rank 32nd offensively ranked in the NFL. And when I tell you this, as bad as far as what they've done, y'all, it's bad. And I know we said we weren't going to say the trap game stuff and none of that, and, man, we won't allow it. But you cannot, and I mean absolutely not, zero, none, absolutely, let me say this again, not fall victim to this team because they are bad. They're 31st in the run and 29th in the pass offensively. They've had two quarterbacks come in and play, and also they had Danny Amendola throw a pass, and also Rex Burkhead also. They just trying to figure this thing out. Quarterbacks for them, for the most part, has been Davis Mills and Tyrod Taylor. Mills is 7 touchdowns and 8 interceptions on the year, and Tyrod is 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions on the year. They've given up 26 sacks also, so there's room for guys to eat this weekend. Of course, seeing the rush that the Titans have right now is probably one of the best in the league. And honestly, this next category is where it kind of hurt me the most when I was looking up this team. The run game for the Houston Texans is insanely bad. It is atrocious. It is, let's say, just bad. I don't even want to disrespect like 1A football who don't have like practice. No. This is worse than high school football. This is like trying to teach little kids, like 5-year-olds, how to play flag football. This is what their run game is. Philip Lindsay, who was hot in Denver, he is their lead rusher now that Mark Ingram is gone. On the year, he has 133 yards rushing on the ground. That's pretty bad considering they're 9 games in. Also, David Johnson has 119 yards rushing on the ground. And this is what broke me about this NFL team. And it'll show you how far and how bad of a team this is. They're averaging 75.7 yards a game rushing. We're talking about an NFL team. We're talking about a team that have drafted or brought in the top 1% of all athletes in the world that play football. They're on the Houston Texans team. No matter what you think of them, they're still the top 1% of all athletes in the world. And this coaching staff, this franchise, can't figure out how to get more than 75.7 yards a game. And you say, how do they have 75.7 yards a game rushing? Well, they've had entire games where they've rushed for 42 yards, 48 yards, 42 yards again, and 44 yards. Ladies and gents, kids, everyone listening, this is bad. If you do not stop this team rushing, I'm going to have a whole problem with it on Monday morning. I will say that. If you do not stop these quarterbacks, or if you don't keep these quarterbacks turning the ball over and getting to them, I'm going to feel some type of way about that also. Leading receiver on this team is Brandon Cooks. 641 yards through the air for him, and also Chris Connolly has 196 yards receiving. Those are their 2 leading rushers. They're 38.9% on third down. They have also made 11 attempts on fourth down. Also, I think they've gotten 6 of those. They have 14 touchdowns on the year in 9 games. I'll say that again. They have 14 touchdowns on the year in 9 games. Compares to the Titans, who've got 31. And also, this is the other thing that doesn't help them win games either. They're -3 in the turnover ratio. So I don't want to say you should steamroll this team because, hey, we've seen the movie and we've actually seen it in real life. Any given Sunday is amongst us, and people will do amazing things on game day. But if you don't beat this team down and send them back to Houston Sunday and Nissan, then I'm going to have a huge problem with that. I don't know how you guys feel, but this isn't a team in which I'd say, yeah, coach, you got to take them serious. No, beat them, have them looking down at the ground before the second half start, and go home and enjoy a steak dinner or something. This is a bad team, and I hate to keep saying that about them because they're an NFL professional team, but they are. It's depleted. It's down bad. And if you feel sad about what I just told you, yeah, you should, because these are grown men playing a grown man game, and they can't get it together. That's the offense for the Texans.
Yeah. 38% third down conversion percentage, 55% fourth down. They've had to go for 11 of them this year, which I think is the lead in the NFL.
Yeah.
204 passing yards a game. As you said, 75 rushing yards a game. They've scored a gaudy 4 rushing touchdowns in 9 football games. It's just terrible. 27-minute time of possession. You want to go a little bit further in terms of when they have the ball and what they're doing with it. They've also been penalized 65 times this year for 552 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not good. Like, there's almost no statistical category in which the Houston Texans have something that you look at and say, hey, man, good job with that. Like, it's not a thing that you really can say about him, other than the fact that Brandon Cooks has usually been good when he's played against the Titans.
Yeah.
And he's a talented player, but the quarterback situation down there, you've got a rookie you had no business playing, who at times has looked okay, but Tyrod Taylor was at least going to be a little bit of a steadying force during that stretch. They had a bunch of running backs. I mean, Mark Ingram's still the rushing leader on the team with 294 yards. Like, it's not like he's the leading rusher like Derrick Henry is for the Titans. He is actually twice as much as Lindsey. And he hadn't been with the team for a couple of weeks. And he was only averaging 42 yards a game when he was here. Phillip Lindsay averaging a nice 14.8 yards per contest. David Johnson, 13.2. It's just terrible. And we knew that they were going to be bad. And you still look at it and you say, how in the world are they 1 in anything? How are they not 0 in everything?
Yeah.
Because when you look at the stats, like, how do you lose to this team? Herb, how do you lose to this team?
Herb? That's how you lose to it. And I didn't even want to go down the scores of what this year has been for them, but even that's been low-hanging, man. Jaguars won 37-21. Hey, Cully's off to a good start. Remember, we had to backtrack a little bit, James. Like, man, maybe Cully is doing something down there.
They did have Tyrod. He had 291 yards in that game.
Yeah.
Ingram, 85. That was the highest rushing total of the year. And Cooks had 132. So at least they had their full complement in week 1. But, boy, did it take a turn after that.
It did. They lost to Cleveland 31-21, Carolina 24-9, and then Buffalo boat raced them 40-0. Remember we were talking about that. They played New England close. And, again, it seems like they start to play good opponents good if you let them hang around. New England beat them 25-22. Colts smoked them 31-3, and they have the most random scores. The Arizona Cardinals beat them 31-5. And Rams beat them 38-22, and then they lost to Miami before the bye 17-9. So they're kicking field goals, got a safety against the Cardinals, kicked the field goal against the Colts, got blanked by the Bills, and I think they kicked 3 field goals against the Panthers. They're not efficient whatsoever on offense, and it's depleted if it ever was a team that was depleted, man. Again, I know Cully's doing the best that he can. He did at one time and still does have one of the best players in the world in Deshaun Watson, but he can't play him right now because, of course, the legal situation he has going on right now. Associate head coach in this team, though, is Lovie Smith. Offensive coordinator is Tim Kelly. I hadn't really heard much about him, but there's a lot of OCs and DCs in this league that I don't know either. So he's got a team around him. As far as Cully goes, it's just not a great look. I feel like Pep Hamilton, was he here in Nashville too with the Titans at one point in time? Or is it a different name? Okay.
Pep was with Indy for a while.
Okay, that's what it was. Pep was, by the way, a kid on this roster, on this coaching staff, Robert Kugler. I saw this kid in high school grow up, man. His my old O-line coach was his actual dad, so it's pretty cool. Look at Robert getting a job, man. Go ahead, Jay. But yeah, this is just a bad team. I'm not saying trap. I'm just saying go smack them in the face.
I mean, that's what we said. I mean,
Yeah.
you should send them back to Houston humiliated. The defense should dominate. They should get after the quarterback. It should be another day where your guys there with Simmons and Autry should be able to eat. They should not really be able to do much at all, even against the secondary, where at times you certainly are still concerned because you have a lot of younger guys there. They're being asked to do things. As long as you can control Brandon Cooks, I'm not really concerned about the Texans. Like, you don't want to overlook it because certainly New England's coming up, and that's a huge game.
Yeah.
And weekend of Thanksgiving and everything else. But I just don't see a universe in which the Titans team that we've watched over the past 6 weeks overlooks it, takes it too lightly. I feel like the only people that are going to take it too lightly are the fans and us.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason to take them seriously other than that they're pros. They're not good, and they're getting embarrassed by teams. I mean, they lost to Cleveland, Carolina. I mean, they've played a tough schedule if you want to look at it that way. Cleveland, Carolina's not good, but they beat them 24-9. Buffalo, New England, Indy, Arizona, the Rams, the Dolphins. So you can say the Dolphins, who they lost to. Phillip Lindsay with a nice 28 yards rushing was the high for the Texans in that game, by the way. You look at Miami and Cleveland, or Miami and Carolina, I should say, but Cleveland, Buffalo, the Patriots, the Colts, the Cardinals, and the Rams. I mean, those are all they're all certainly playoff teams or teams that believe they're going to be in the playoffs. We'll have to see how it plays out. But the Texans have been battle tested, but so what? Like, eventually you got to win games. Like, this is 1-8, but they don't even feel like that. It doesn't even feel like that one is even relevant because it was a week one. It was when everything was weird. It was the first game for Herb. It was the first game for Trevor Lawrence. That was the best time you were going to have if you were the Texans to get somebody. And they got some very inexperienced guys that took advantage of it. It's not like Jacksonville's good either.
Right.
But there's what are you supposed to hold your hat on if you're a Texans fan right now at all? Nothing. Like, there's nothing there. Like, there's no there, folks. Like, there's not. We don't want to disrespect them, but what exactly are you supposed to do when you start breaking down their numbers and even breaking down their talent? You end up disrespecting them simply by stating the facts and reading out the statistics.
Like I told you, when I saw Phillip Lindsay's, when I saw his rush total for the year, I was like, what are we doing here? Like, seriously, what are we
not
doing
running the ball
here, man? It's so bad. And their best defender, Christian Kursky, is on IR right now. Desmond King is still there, though. Former Titan.
There you go. It's terrible. 615-737-1045. 737-1045. That's the telephone number. Interesting question that I saw last night on Twitter, and I screenshotted it. I was going to answer the tweet, and then I was like, I'm going to think about this a little bit. Not sports related, but if we're talking about the Texans, then we can probably do this too. It was tweeted out by somebody back in April, and then they retweeted it yesterday, and I saw a lot of people I know responded to it. It says, honest answers only. What were your 5 most listened to bands or artists in high school? And don't try to be cool and say some hardcore band from Manitoba 3 people have heard of. What were your 5 most listened to bands or artists in high school? I did put answers together, and I was thinking to myself, I still listen to most of that stuff. But I think it's an interesting kind of background question today on the culture side. Is just go back to high school. What were the 5 artists that were just constantly in your car, constantly at home, constantly on your party playlists, all that kind of stuff, constantly playing in the halls, maybe if you had like a boombox, if you were of that age or something like that? I just would be curious to get some of your answers on that. The other thing we haven't done, we talked about the college football playoff. We really still haven't talked a lot about Tennessee and Georgia. And I think we can do that with South Alabama being the opponent this week. So we'll do a lot of that. Plus, again, Mike Golic Jr., as well as Rhett Bryan, as well as Inky Johnson, and plenty of time for you at 615-737-1045. So I'm gonna tweet this out, this band question out, so that you guys can start responding, and then we can read them as they come in here. It is Scout Meeting Wednesday. Unfortunately for the Texans, that means we had to tell you about them, because when you start talking about the Texans, it's usually not a good thing for the Texans. We'll be right back. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, I'm Jason Martin. Honest answers only. What were your 5 most listened to bands or artists in high school? Don't try to be cool, the tweet says, and say some band 3 people have heard of. I wrote down 4, and then the 5th one, the thing is, I don't know truly what the answer is, but I tried to put something different than the other 4 that I had, but drop those. I'm about to tweet out the link from @JMart Radio, and it'll just be kind of a background question that we can ask. A lot of people suggesting honey for me and other things like that. I've already had some lemon tea, but I'll have another one, I guess, when we go to the top of the hour.
By the way, Jake, a lot of people are suggesting whiskey, which I think you get 3 more hours to go. Why not? Go for it.
Why not?
Let's have fun.
By the end of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't know what that'll do for body aches and maybe a slight fever.
I mean,
so
you ain't gonna feel much.
I don't know that they want me after a couple of fingers of whiskey at the clinic later.
Well,
I'll
say this. I'll say this. And you were and everything was fine. You were in good shape. But I'll say this. You did make the UT Ole Miss game even that much more enjoyable when we went out there.
You did.
You were doing good.
Abby set them up too.
Abby did.
She was, let's get shots.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. Abby would say, hey, let's do shots.
I don't think she said that, guys.
Yes, she did.
I do not think she said that.
She's going to text you to tell us, like, yeah.
Right, do you want me to tell the truth here?
Go ahead.
She didn't say that, but we're saying she said that.
Right.
And I felt, you know what, Shafe? I felt like she did.
But did she take a shot? The answer to that would be, yes, she did.
Waiting on the answer here.
Because I was sitting beside her.
She can get
I did too,
with
by
us.
the way. I mean, yeah, everybody was behaved.
It made the show awesome.
I mean, I don't think Ron Slay needs alcohol to make that any show that he's on any better.
He just need a light and a mic. That's it.
That's it.
That's all.
Yeah,
but it helped.
Yeah, it was a good time.
And by the way, too, Jay, I've heard you say this time and time again, too. I never really heard the term a finger or two of something. And I was just, I get it, and it makes sense. But it was just like, let me get a drink. And that was new to me. I never knew a finger or two was a measuring device as far as how much you're getting. Interesting.
By the way, I didn't either, but Abby had mentioned it. And so then I realized what it meant. And it does make sense.
It does.
So it's Abby that understands proper drinking protocol and listens to trap music. This is all making sense now.
I'm not commenting on any of this.
I love to know her top 5 bands in high school, Shay.
Let's go to David. He's on the line. I don't have the Slack pulled up. I'm not sure where from, but David, you go right ahead.
What's up, David?
Hey, fellas. How you doing this morning?
Good. What's going on?
A little Woodford Reserve with that honey and lemon is not going to hurt you, Jason. It'll be good.
Thank you.
All right, 5 bands. Not trying to be cool, but because it was mid-'80s, it's just cool, right? So hair metal, Motley Crue all day long, Van Halen, White Snake, and I'll throw a little softer action for you. Bon Jovi, and my first CD I ever purchased was Journey's Greatest Hits. So that's probably 5 of them.
That's strong. That's good.
That's good. I don't know all their catalogs, but I know that's pretty strong right there, David.
And he said Van Halen, so I'm waiting for Mickey Ryan to call in.
Yeah, Mickey's excited.
Yeah, Mickey's excited
about that.
He's going to call in.
White Snake's, I didn't know they had more than one song.
White Snake? They had a couple.
Yeah.
They had a few. Yeah. But everyone just remembers the video with Tawny Kitaen on top of the car.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's the song you remember, yes.
Yeah.
615-737-1045. That's the telephone number. 737-1045. Your 5 favorite bands from high school that you listen to the most, or your 5 favorite artists. I see we got Mark in the Borough. Jeremy, they're going to talk about Titans-Texans. We did a scout meeting, and we really should have just played the Undertaker's original WWF theme underneath it. And maybe tried to do our best Paul Bearer voice.
Got to take him seriously, though, man.
I know you
do. Ask Buffalo how that worked out against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Picture me polling. What's more difficult? Me getting through this 4 hours the way that I feel today, or taking the Texans seriously if you're their opponent in a football game?
It's you getting through these 4 hours. There's no doubt about that.
Okay,
It's
that's
tough.
fair.
It's tough.
Second hour of the show is coming up next. It's JMart and Ramon. I hear you laughing over there.
But I'm not laughing too hard because hopefully you didn't get me
Dessert
sick.
Bizag.
Stop
Hour number
it.
2 after the headlines. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
This is so ridiculous.
If you were thinking of selling your home, think about selling it to Open Door. Selling your home in Nashville, it can be hard, and Open Door will make it easy for you. And hey, it's Ramon Foster, and I went to Open Door and saw for myself how easy it is to get an offer. Selling to Open Door prevents you from having to keep your home show ready, no open houses, no prep work. You don't have to make the repairs yourself, which is a headache, okay? Open Door will look in recent sales in your area and come up with a competitive offer, a real offer at that. And you get to skip all the hard parts. And you know exactly how much money you will get, and you can close when you are ready, and all of this can be done online. Visit opendoor.com/myoffer for your free, no obligation, real offer. Hundreds of thousands of people have already requested their offer from Open Door. Now is the time to get your free offer and not stress out while selling your home. Go to opendoor.com. Again, that's opendoor.com. And of course, offer eligibility varies. Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage LLC. And skip over the traditional process and sell your home the new fashion way with opendoor.com.
Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. To the NHL we go. The Toronto Maple Leafs defeated the Nashville Predators last night 3-0. That game was in Toronto. Leafs goaltender Jack Campbell made 24 saves for the shutout. UC Saros, he played well despite the loss. He did stop 31 shots for the Predators. Just their second regulation loss in their last 11 games. They've been playing well despite the loss last night. In third place in the Central Division, just 2 points behind first place Winnipeg. Titans activated outside linebacker Derek Roberson from injured reserve to the 53-man roster. Also, linebacker Dylan Cole is to the active roster from the practice squad, and the team signed wide receiver Cody Hollister to the practice squad. Top 7 teams: Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, Cincinnati, Michigan, and Michigan State all won this past weekend. They remain 1-7 in the latest college football rankings that were released yesterday. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour number 2, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. It's here because of All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. All4seasonsgarages.com/Nashville is where we want you to go to learn more about the crew. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster. Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Jason Martin, at Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. You're just tuning in. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm at home. If you're watching Zone TV, we appreciate you being there. I said that word, appreciate, has 4 syllables. I just gave it 12.
Yeah, we're not going to demerit
that's how
you.
we're rolling.
We're not going to demerit you today, though, man. You're under the weather. It's all right, man. It's okay.
YouTube, Twitch, hanging out. We appreciate all you guys. 615-737-1045 to reach the program. Mike Golic Jr. will join us in the next hour. Rhett, Bryan in the final hour. Of course, it is Scout Meeting Wednesday. If you missed our scouting of the Texans from the first hour,
I mean, you didn't
consider yourself lucky.
There wasn't much to it.
Yeah. There really was not. Background question we've asked today is, what are the top 5 bands/artists that you listened to in high school most? Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting because when I tried to answer it, I was like, man, I'm leaving out some bands that I might have listened to more, but I was trying to be a little bit variety with one of my answers. And I think there's just a lot of candidates because I listened to so much music in high school and in middle school as well as in college. So I did my best to answer the question. We tweeted it out. You can certainly go there and answer as well. It also generally, when you answer it, it'll reveal how old you are. That's the other thing about that question is, I can pinpoint, at least to some degree, how old you are based on how you answer that question. Let's get to a couple phone calls. So Mark in the Borough will lead us off here. Mark, go right ahead.
Thanks for taking my call, guys, and thanks for you guys for your sports entertainment and sports news every morning.
Hey, appreciate you saying sports entertainment, man. See, you get it. You get
it. No problem, guys. I thrive to be in your position one day. But I would say my bands is Boys to Men, the Hot Boys, No Limit, Jackson 5, and Bone Thugs and Harmony. So those are not your traditional bands. I would have to go with Journey if I was doing karaoke. All right? But don't stop believing, guys.
Yeah.
But, as far as my question is, Ramon, to you, if I were Derrick Henry and I were out for the remaining of the regular season, when it comes to the playoffs, every player right now is studying their next opponent, When it comes to Derrick Henry, are my coaches telling me to start studying AFC teams right now? Every AFC team that is potentially going to be a playoff team? Or am I still studying my next opponent with the team? Or am I looking ahead because we're already going to make the playoffs?
Right.
I'll hang up and listen.
All right, for sure. Great question right there, man. I'll say this. You can tell a lot about how a team feel about a player with the way they want them to be involved in the play. I mean, into the planning of a week too. Case in point, I give you one situation and I'll answer the Derrick Henry one. So, of course, I talked to Josh Dobbs, my former UT Vol, my former teammate and stuff like that. And he was saying, he's on IR right now, I think, because of his ankle or leg. But he's got to go to every single meeting that the quarterbacks have and the team have simply because they want him to be involved in the offense and also be a player's eye on the field on game day too. So that says a lot about how they think about Josh. That says a lot about who he is as a player too. So for a guy like Derrick Henry, who's on IR right now with the ability to come back, I would say this. He's probably spending the most of his day doing rehab at the facility, and he's probably also around the guys too. I say probably for the first week or two, he might stay home for a little bit just to get his mind right, just to heal up a little bit so he can be a little bit mobile. But as far as him being in and week out, absolutely, because there's that opportunity for him to come back. And I say that, and I don't know if it'll be every opponent, but I guarantee you he's helping out AD. I guarantee you he's helping out all of the young running backs that are still in that room to say, hey, you should be doing this, or this is what we should be doing on this play. His involvement, because of how important he is very much still the same. Other than him playing, other than him probably being on the sideline, I bet for sure he's keeping up with everything that goes on because the guys that have opportunities to come back, coaches keep them around. And also, as I bring this up all the time too, players have a bad fear of missing out. When you feel like it's like your turn or you need to be a whole lot better about being around the guys or honestly
My turn.
a little bit of depression.
My turn.
Yeah, from not being out there, coaches like to keep guys around. And I think Derrick will be one of those guys to be an off-the-field leader for sure. And the opponent is going to be the next opponent. They got to figure out how they're going to stop Derrick whenever he gets healthy.
Yeah, I think I remember Vrabel being asked about Derrick and saying it's killing him not being around.
Yeah.
So for the first few weeks, right, but you could see, within the next 3-4 weeks, maybe he'll start to make more and more appearances, but I'm sure he's having conversations anyway, with all the people that he can, and he's all in with this team. I'm sure he hasn't shut it down in his own mind yet, even if he ends up not being able to come back. I bet you right now he wouldn't tell you that because he doesn't believe it until a doctor officially tells him he can't play.
Oh, no doubt.
So he's doing all that he can, first off, to come back, and also to come back with as little rust, at least with his mind, as possible. You can't duplicate football speed. Anybody that's ever played a game, I've heard you said, I've heard every guest we've ever had to play football. You can't. And Adrian Peterson said that when he came in on his introductory press conference. You can't do it. So, but the mental side, he can get himself right there. So I think the more he's involved, the more conversations that he's having, the more active he is while not being active on the field itself.
Yeah.
He strikes me as that kind of guy anyway,
no
but
doubt.
that's the way a champion behaves.
Yep.
And Derrick Henry's a champion. He's a rushing champion, may well be a Super Bowl champion before all is said and done. Headed to Canton, in my humble opinion. I think we're getting to the point where that debate is becoming null and void. Like he's going to have to do maybe a little bit more, but we're getting awfully close to where we can start to pencil him in. And guys that are like that, those guys, generally speaking, are addicted, like Jeff Simmons said, addicted to competition. And so I imagine you're dead right with that, but it really was a good question. 615-737-1045. Adam in the borough, we'll get to you before the break. And then Charlie, cousin Joey, Neil, we'll get to your phone calls on the other side. Adam, go ahead.
Hey, guys. I appreciate you taking my call. Appreciate what y'all do. Shout out to Hunter's Lane, class of 94.
Amen.
I'd say, I kind of like JMart, listened to a lot of different stuff. Really thought about Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, little bit of, that Bon Jovi action, but a lot of Biggie and Beastie Boys come to mind.
Awesome.
Yeah. No. All right. So we're talking about 80s high school, pretty much, right?
80s high school. Wow.
Late 80s, early 90s would have to be because, Bon Jovi slippery when wet in New Jersey and all that stuff. That was
Oh, but see, here's kind of the thing, though, Jason, because like for me in high school, yeah, I listened to grunge and all that, but the bands I probably listened to were more classic rock bands, and that's when I went back and listened to Zeppelin and
I
Black
agree with you.
Sabbath and did that. So,
I listened to Zeppelin. I listened to Jimi Hendrix a lot.
yeah,
Stuff like that. But I wouldn't say I necessarily listened to it as much. I think of the stuff that you would say is a little older was probably Tom Petty, because a lot of his stuff had already come out. But the greatest hits album that came out when Mary Jane's Last Dance was released as a new single on the greatest hits album. Still probably greatest hits album that's ever been.
I'll say this though, Napster was when I was still in high school.
Napster and LimeWire and Kazaa and all of that was when I was a freshman
Everything
in college. So yeah, how old are you?
Well, Napster would have been when I was a junior, senior in high school.
Okay,
Because I'm a couple years younger than you.
What, you're
Okay, yeah,
38,
all
right?
right.
So you and I are in the same era.
No,
of Napster.
I'm closer to Jason than you. I'm 40.
You 40 already?
Yeah.
I thought you were 38.
No, 40.
Okay,
I'll
I'm
take
35.
You want to turn the clock back to 38? I'll take it.
We'll just start calling Schaefer Old E.
Old head.
Oldie.
No,
Old head.
Old E, like Old English. 800. King
O-
Cobra.
OLDE.
Hurricane.
OLDE. I get it.
Put,
Yeah.
put it in a brown paper bag.
Yeah, you would have been in Dre's fridge in the Nothing But a G Thing video.
Old 45. Baby.
615-737-1045. Top 5 bands or artists that you listened to in high school. I see the calls. We'll get to them when we come back. We appreciate y'all. It is JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Hey, home improvement projects can become overwhelming. I mean, first off the list, it starts out small, then it gets bigger. And then you're wondering when you have the time, especially if you're a mom or a dad or you got a full-time job, but you don't have to worry because Lee Company, they have full-time jobs. They have full-time jobs that can help you out. They have the people, the tools, the expertise to handle any home improvement project for you. That goes from staining your deck or your driveway to patching or painting a wall, even to hanging those pesky pictures. And sometimes you don't even want to break out the level. You can never seem to get it even. You want to make sure it's spaced out properly. You want to make sure that it's going to stay there if it's a little bit heavier. All those things. They can make your to-do list flat out disappear when it comes to your home improvement projects. If you've got a bigger project in mind, they got that too. I want you to call Lee Company today. See just how much they can do for you to help knock that to-do list out. 615-567-1000. That's the phone number, 615-567-1000, or visit them online at leecompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. 1045 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Glad to be with you. Jason Martin, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer. Those are our names. We're on Twitter at JMart and Ramon. I put out a tweet from someone else from last year. I think it's when this question was originally asked, but I saw it pop up last night again. And I thought, yeah, this is a fun question, especially in a week when you're playing the Houston Texans. Honest answers only. What were your 5 most listened to bands or artists in high school? And don't try to be cool and say some hardcore band from Manitoba 3 people have heard of. So I threw mine in there, and then I felt terrible about it because it's like, yeah, I probably listened to Foo Fighters and Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Stone Temple Pilots probably could have easily made a list. But I tried to throw Dre and Snoop in there, Moan, because first off, I saw them as one person at that point in time because Snoop was all over Dre's album, and then Dre produced Snoop's album, and this was pre-Eminem. This was, DOC and Warren G and all of that kind of thing. But I mean, there's so many answers to try and come up with 5. It feels like I'm disrespecting some of my all-time favorite artists that I listened to a ton back then. But I think the fun thing about this question is it does a lot of times reveal when you were in high school and then, likely your age. So we put that question out there at 615-737-1045. About to jump back into the phones. Have you thought about it, Moan, and come up with it?
Yeah, I got my 5, and I put it in the zone chat too. My 5 were 36 Mafia, Tennessee, Yo Gotti, Playa Fly, Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, and Project Pat. Those I was real Tennessee centric or Southern centric in my listening. But then I think it was Mark that called in earlier, and he said No Limit and Cash Money. And I was like, I listened to all that, like Juvenile, 400 Degrees album, front to back.
Me too. But that was right after I got out of high school in my case. So I couldn't pick that one, for example, because it was like a couple years into college when I was listening to Juvenile and the G Code and 400 Degrees, all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's so many to think of when somebody else names drop somebody else. I was like, yeah, I was listening to that too. Like I had my CD player with the no skip that still skipped a little bit. And you want to talk about blasting it on the bus to school and just like losing it? Yeah, that was me. Especially that Lil Jon Kings of Crunk, I think is what it was. Or I forget which album it was, but boy, you want to talk about Friday night before the game playing that album too? Jeez, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that I can mention, so many shows that I saw. Wu-Tang Clan and all of those solo albums were coming out around that time as well. Weezer had their moment right then, like when I was in high school. I've never cared more about music. My entire back window of first my 84 Camaro and then my pair of Broncos was just littered with stickers.
Yeah.
With band stickers. I would go to the record exchange in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and just try to take all the stuff off their walls. Hey, am I going to do anything with that Pearl Jam Vitalogy deal? And they would say no, and I'd take it. And I still do it to this day. I went in Grimey's 2 weeks ago and asked for a test pressing thing they had on the wall for the war on drugs. Found out they were doing a giveaway for it. But that kind of stuff used to be my lifeblood, going in there and finding things like that.
No. I think we buried the lead here. You had an 84 Camaro?
Oh, yeah. White.
Wow.
Man.
As Cat Williams would say, pimping is pimping.
Pimping been pimping since pimping.
Man.
White 84 Camaro with a 10-disc CD changer.
Yeah.
I wrecked it twice within the first month to get my driver's license.
Of course you did. It's an 84
and
Camaro.
The day I got my license, I went to my best friend's house and I hit his garage because I didn't stop fast enough. So I hit it going like 3 miles an hour. Then I had a couple more fender benders, one where I rear-ended a dude like 3 weeks after I got my license.
We have to explore this more. Okay.
We do. Right. This is like the Ron Slay Beretta story almost.
It's just like we're putting you under the light here, and then we're going to hook the battery up to you. Yeah. 84 Camaro. How did this all come about? That young Jason Martin got an 84 Camaro. Yeah. Where did the Camaro come from? How much did it cost? There's so many questions to this.
Yeah.
Well, when I was turning 16, my parents were looking through the ads as well as I, and certainly it wasn't going to be a very expensive car because we live very, very reasonably at best. And I don't think, and I've said before, I don't think I have ever really fully appreciated at times how close we were to the line of not having what we needed. And that gives me more appreciation for the fact that I didn't know it because my parents did enough to make sure that I never knew. But the Camaro was $3,000, I think it was, the 84 Camaro. And Dad found it. He goes, I think this would be slick, son. And so it's a white Camaro and gray on the interior. And then it ended up being a gray front left fender after the accident. And we never repaired it because that was going to be like $1,000, $1,500. That was like half the price of the car. And it was kind of a reminder from my parents. Yeah, don't wreck your car. So I had a white 84 Camaro. It was my first car with a gray primered front fender. Then a month of getting that thing. I never had a date until I got the next car.
The Camaro is a dope car, though, Jay. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Yep, that one. That one still looks good. You get it in the T-top, man, you want to talk about a bad car.
Let's go to Charlie in Manchester. Charlie, what's going on?
What's up, Charlie?
Done this morning.
Morning.
Hey.
Good. Hey, man, taking you back, JMart. My first car was a '68 Camaro, buddy.
Hey.
Yeah, and I used to slam in these 8-tracks. I'm going to age myself a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah. Still have a lot of them, man. I still have a lot of them. Hey, my top 5 bands. Again, I'm going to age myself. Number 1, the Allman Brothers Band. Making Georgia music, buddy. Pink Floyd, number 2. The Grateful Dead, number 3. Little Feat, number 4. And not necessarily number 5, but the first concert I went to was the Beatles. That's my top 5, buddy.
Ooh,
oh man!
That's pretty strong. Saw the Beatles live?
Yeah, you saw the Beatles.
Yeah, I grew up in Germany, and 1965 saw the Beatles at the Circus Krone in Munich, and just lit my fire to music, man, and came back to Tennessee in '69, my sophomore year in high school.
That is a flex.
Just fell in love with that generation of music. That's when musicians were musicians, man. And I never forget, my dad took me to an Allman Brothers concert, and I sat there and I said, "Dad, these guys are just standing around." And he looked at me and said, "Son, those are real musicians."
Yeah, no kidding, man.
And what's really neat, man, is I live down here in Manchester, where Bonnaroo is. And, the Grateful Dead's played there, the Brothers played there, Little Feat's played there, McCartney played there, just some legendary musicians, and to be able to see them in my backyard was kind of a thrill. But I'll never forget the days, JMart, hitting my Camaro, putting it on the road, man, and slamming an Allman Brothers or a Pink Floyd 8-track and cranking it up and cruising the highway, man. Good times and good memories. Hey, I love your show, guys. Thanks for taking my call. And you guys have a great day, and we'll hit you again soon, brother.
You too,
all right,
man.
Charles, man.
Appreciate
Eat
it.
a peach, bro. I love the Allman Brothers band too.
What a little fog hat.
Allman Brothers.
Foreigner.
I listen to Fog Hat because if you will ask me what soundtrack I listened to about as much as almost any other album during that time, it would have been the Dazed and Confused soundtrack. When I was in high school, and it had Slow Ride by Fog Hat. It had the expanded version when they released it again, had Sweet Emotion on it from Aerosmith, another band I listened to a ton when I was in high school. But it had Stranglehold by Ted Nugent and Cherry Bomb and Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo and a lot of Tuesday's Gone by Leonard Skinner. Skinner might also be near that list for me.
That also
I listened to a ton of Skinner.
That may be my favorite Skinner song, to be honest.
It is mine.
Gone. Yeah.
I like a lot of their stuff, but I think you're right. That's exactly what I would say. Let's go to cousin Joey in Cross Plains. He's up next. Joey, what's up?
What's up, fam?
What's up,
So
Joey?
I told my first truck, I totaled it going to church on a Sunday. So my parents bought me a '92 Chevy Astro minivan. I instantly become one of the coolest kids in school because I could pack 30 people in there and we just go out traveling. But it didn't have a CD player, but it had the old cassette player. And I'd got you remember the cassette player with the cord on it, you plug into your CD player?
Yeah, absolutely. I had those things break on me left and right, man.
Oh, I was rocking those out. But but we were always listening to Haystack, Metallica, Ray Stevens, Garth Brooks, or Bob Marley.
Hey.
And that's all. I still listen to every one of them to this day. But, it was just I had a variety of music, and those were the 5 that I mainly listened to.
There it is. Nice,
awesome,
man.
Joey.
Like
Schaefer,
this topic.
you'll appreciate this one, Schaefer. I could also maybe put the Jerky Boys in there because I listened to the crap out of prank phone calls when I was in high school because I also did them.
It was never my thing, man.
I love
the crank phone call thing was never my thing.
I love that.
And I think part of it for me was because I'd be so pissed if somebody did it to me.
Between them and Ricky Smiley, I was all over them. I got them downloaded on my phone right now. Yeah, Ricky Smiley is awesome with that. I used to prank phone call in high school too.
I did it so often. We did it all the time. Oh my gosh. I can never tell you some of the things that we did. I can promise you that much. Let's go to. Did we go to Adam and the Burrow, Shafe?
Yeah.
Let's go to Neil.
Let's go to Neil. Yeah. Let's go to Neil. What's going on, Neil?
Hey, how's it going?
Good morning.
Hey.
I want to discuss. Well, actually, I want to ask you guys, what do you think of Alabama losing to Georgia in the SEC championship and still getting in the playoffs? I don't agree with that.
Yeah, we brought that up in the first hour, man. Like that's the scenario that could happen, and Alabama be out. But of course, again, I won't say we, but I think that these, the CFP are pretty much judging this playoff on who they think deserves to be there, not necessarily who's actually paved their way to actually get to that fourth spot if Alabama does lose. And you got to ask yourself this too: if they do still get in, who deserves to be in over Alabama with two losses?
Yeah, look, no two-loss team has ever made it in the college football playoff. Alabama has the best shot, but they're going to have to play Georgia really close.
Yeah.
In a classic game, too. It can't be a bad game that's close. It has to be an all-time classic game. I don't think it will happen. I think Alabama has to beat Georgia, although I also don't think we're getting through the rest of this season unscathed with the teams that are currently there. Like Ohio State's got a couple tough games. They could lose. I won't necessarily predict that. I do think Oregon probably will lose before the end of the year because they're going to have to play Utah twice.
Yeah.
Utah's a pretty good football team. Beating them once, sure. Beating them twice, we heard Jeff Schwartz basically say it yesterday. He thinks they probably end up splitting. A two-loss Oregon team ain't going anywhere.
No.
That much we can promise you.
I think this too, Jay. Last week with Alabama playing New Mexico State was a real indication of what they're trying to do. They didn't pull the dogs off them. They smacked them 59-3. That's unlike Saban to keep the dogs on against a lesser opponent like that.
No, I agree. And I hate that we play in a universe or in a sandbox where style points matter the way that they do in college football, but they just do. And that's why if you say is Cincinnati one of the four best teams in the country, I'm just going to say absolutely not. And I'm going to try not to laugh while I say it. Like, they just haven't played enough teams that you're impressed by, and they haven't played them in a way that makes you impressed by them. Like Tulane, Tulsa, Navy, they didn't look good in any of those three games. They could have easily lost two of the three of those games. They beat South Florida on Friday night, 45-28. That's the best win they've had in a little while, but is that college football playoff worthy? I don't think so. I'm sorry.
Right. So it's a lot that's going into it, Jay. I like this topic, man. It's great of you to bring this up today, too, by the way. Top five bands.
Oh,
Top
yeah,
five
yeah,
bands,
yeah.
man. That's awesome.
Yeah. We can get to one more at least right now before we get to the break. Let's go to Jamie and Dixon. Jamie, what's going on?
What's up, Jamie? Good morning.
What's up, guys? Hey, it's Jamie from White House. So, man, I just
hey, bro.
Hey, man, I just in high school. Okay, so I'm a huge Kiss fan. I've seen them 27 times.
Wow.
I was lucky to have two brothers one brother who was a rocker and one brother who was, who introduced me to Prince and Parliament and Lakeside and stuff like that. So I remember in high school going into Camelot, into the mall and buying Kiss, Ice Cube, and Garth Brooks, and guys like, you doing Christmas shopping? I was like, no, these are for me. So I got to put those three bands right there, Kiss, Garth Brooks when I was in high school because he owned it. And then Cube, man, our first taste of West Coast was NWA. And I'll never forget buying Death Certificate, Cube's first cassette. And I remember putting it in and driving. I drove around the whole time listening for the rebuttal, for the diss song of him dissing them. And it's like, and it wasn't there. And the last track comes on, and it's called No Vaseline.
Yep.
And honestly, I thought it meant something else. And I was like, well, this isn't the diss track. And all of a sudden, I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Probably still, besides Hit 'em Up and No Vaseline, probably the two best diss tracks of all time. But to round out my top 5, was such a huge New Edition fan. But, man, when Belle Biv DeVoe just owned the high school, like every high school dance, we're all like, we're all doing the Running Man and stuff, the Poison. And then I would just from my music background, I have to put Guns N' Roses on there because that Appetite for Destruction might be one of the top 5 rock albums of all time, in my opinion. So a little bit more of a rock thing because I could throw so much. I'm like Jason, I could throw so much more hip hop in there. And Dre and Snoop, Chronic didn't come out until my first year of college, so I'm just talking about my high school years. So so that's basically my top 5.
Good stuff.
Jamie,
I like a lot of that.
92, 93?
Yeah. You forget how young you are sometimes, Ramon. I was just going through my top 5 now. Definitely, mine's definitely hard rock, metal oriented. Metallica, AC/DC, that Guns N' Roses album is one of the first albums I ever bought. And then to go in the Wayback Machine a little bit, Black Sabbath was in there. And then a little more current was, I'd say, Atlas in Chains in the 90s. So I'd say those are the top 5.
So Jamie mentioned Camelot music. Camelot was my place. We had a Camelot, then we had a record. We had several in Haynes Mall and Winston. We had Record Town. We had the equivalent of a Sam Goody. We had CD Superstore that opened up, Record Exchange, which was my place because they sold local stuff and sold used stuff and all this. But I was a little bit of a mischief maker in high school as it related to Camelot in particular, but I pretty much did it everywhere.
You stole the tapes?
I would buy no. I was buying CDs, listening to them when a new one would come out that I wanted. I would just take that back and say, yeah, I got this as a birthday gift. I did it. I did it multiple times a week.
You
guys.
Scammer.
And so I would roll out with the new one,
Savage,
just exchanging out one that I'd had on my tower for like 2 years. I did it all the time. I even did it with discs that I would like try to cover up if there had been some kind of a minor scratch. I was very careful so I could pull this off. And I also became a master of being able to replace the jewel casing, the front of the jewel case, so that there would be no scratch there. So it would look like it was a pristine case. I'd make sure that none of the tongs on the inside were broken off. The thing looked perfect. There are people in Winston-Salem right now with used CDs from my collection that they probably paid new prices for.
Yeah, that's some turd stuff right there.
You
scammer. Listen to Jay, man. Whoever knew you had this background.
Humble man.
With the 84 Camaro.
With the 84 Camaro.
I think Dazed and Confused might have been written about Jason.
It may have been.
Might have been.
I don't realize.
If you
know it, but I feel like it.
Quiet. If you're on hold, stay there. Erica Larson's going to join us after the break. She's a race director of the St. Jude Rock and Roll Running Series. I actually have been signed up to run the half marathon this weekend for like 2 years, and now I've had multiple doctors tell me with my flat feet and discs in my back, they've kind of asked me not to do it and told me to start working out differently. So I don't think I'm going to be able to run it, unfortunately. But I'd gotten to where I'd trained up to running 9-10 miles, and now it's Peloton and elliptical and running maybe twice a week. So I don't know if I can do it. So maybe I'm gonna have to apologize to Erica.
Boosting CDs.
We come back, or blame a doctor, not my wife. I'm gonna blame a doctor when we come back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Talk about this last week. It's time. Your chance to get that rare, hard to find luxury timepiece is here at my jewelry store. It's Genesis Diamonds. This weekend at Genesis, hosting the largest luxury pre-owned Rolex event ever held in the state of Tennessee. Just in time for the holidays, Genesis has found and purchased a spectacular selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. All the hottest models people wait years for. They're being showcased this weekend. Hulks, Daytonas, Submariners, Batmans, the rarest luxury timepieces you cannot find anywhere else this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come early, get the first pick, get 60 months financing. How about a luxury pre-owned two-tone Submariner for just $299 a month? A ladies 36 millimeter date just for just $199 a month. Also for this event, the pre-owned Rolex buyers are actually on site offering top dollar for your luxury pre-owned Rolex. So come see the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches in Tennessee. Take advantage of special financing this Friday, this Saturday, this Sunday only, and also only, of course, at my jewelry store, Genesis Diamonds. Now your new home for luxury pre-owned Rolexes in Green Hills and Cool Springs. Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Almost 2 hours in the books here on The Zone. We're powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. 11-year NFL veteran and ball for life, Ramon Foster and Jonathan Schaefer joining me. I'm Jason Martin. We're at JMart and Ramon on Twitter. If you're on hold, stay there. We'll get to some of your phone calls after the headlines at the top of the hour, asking a question of 5 bands that you listen to the most in high school. It's been a fun kind of background topic. Something else is going to be fun. St. Jude Rock and Roll Racing Series this Saturday, the marathon and half marathon. We have the race director, Erica Larson, on the line with us. Erica, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So I said this before the break. I've been registered to run the half marathon since before the pandemic. And of course, last year the event got postponed. And in that time frame, I've had doctors tell me, because I have flat feet and plantar fasciitis, they asked me point blank, they're like, do you have to run? Like, can you exercise in a different way? And so now I'm like back out of shape, and now I've been itching to do it. So I've been trying to run a couple of days a week. I don't think I can run your race. And I've been excited to do it. It would be the first one I'd ever done. But I don't know that I'm going to do it, but I'm still like trying to talk myself into it.
Hey, we also have the 5K as well on Saturday. You don't have to run the half or full marathon. There are shorter distances. If that's an option for you, we'd love to have you.
Okay, well, maybe I can pull that off if I can get over this cold. So tell us a little bit about the race itself. I know that the cool thing is just being able to run around Nashville and, you know, the honky tonk, 12 South, Capitol Mall, Skirmerhorn, those kinds of things. Like, there's so many landmarks that you're running. Obviously, you're running with a lot of people with the same goal in mind, but it's a pretty picturesque setting in which to do a marathon, right?
It absolutely is. And the course, I feel, definitely highlights pretty much all of Nashville, like you just had mentioned. The race starts, the half and full marathon will start at 8th and Broadway, and we will also have a 5K and 6.15 mile race start on Saturday as well at 8th and Demonbreun. And those courses, like you said, go from Broadway to through Belmont, 12 South, Bicentennial Capitol Mall, into East Nashville and Shelby Bottoms Park and Greenway. So I really feel like those who are coming from out of town, and even those who live here, we're shutting the roads down for everyone, and hopefully it's a great day and they enjoy the picturesque course that we have for them.
Erica, now, what's the integrity like on this race? Because what if I sign up and have somebody run for me? Is that allowed?
It is not. We have a very strict bib pickup policy. We check IDs, and we do not let anyone else run with anyone's bib.
Okay, I just had to ask because I'm almost in the same boat as Jay, where I've done a 5K personally, okay? I have it logged on my phone and everything, and I was just trying to figure out if I signed up for the half marathon, can somebody run in my place? And that's an absolute no is what you're telling me.
Correct, yeah. The person who signs the waiver is the one who has the bib.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, that is awesome. Weather permitting, everything goes well. What is the turnout you guys are expecting for this weekend? Because we all see it, or what we need to be able to go to watch and spectate these runners come through, because it is a spectacle to see for sure.
It absolutely is. We're expecting upwards of 15,000 people join us this weekend. Yes. So we're really excited to bring this back. It's been quite a while. So weather looks great, knock on wood. We're just excited to be here again. I know the city's excited. It's going to be a great day.
Erica, what's new? What have you guys added to it? I mean, it's in your first rodeo around here, even though it's the first time you've been able to do it because of the pandemic since 2019. What's new for those that are veterans that have done it before?
Yeah, great question. So normally we host our expo over at Music City Center. This year for November, we are hosting at Nissan Stadium. So we're really excited to partner with our friends and colleagues over at the Nissan Stadium to host this. It's going to be pretty unique compared to the expo experience that you're used to at Music City Center. Those of you who are listening and coming to the expo Thursday or Friday, the entrance for the expo will be at Gate 9 on the south side of the stadium. In addition to the expo change, we did make a change to the marathon course. Normally that's gone up into Metro Center. We've removed that, and we've added that distance out in Shelby Bottoms Park and Greenway. So I think it'll be a welcome change for those running the marathon. I was over there the other day. the foliage is unbelievable. It's gonna be beautiful out there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to do this and you haven't signed up or registered, how can people get that done so that they can take part in everything Saturday?
Yeah, great question. You can still sign up on site at our expo. So we'll be open again at Nissan Stadium tomorrow on Thursday from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. and Friday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We can get you signed up there for sure.
Erica, we appreciate some of your time. It's going to be a great event. It always is. It's benefiting an awesome cause that we all believe in. So we wish you the best with it. And I'm still debating. Maybe I can talk myself into actually going out there and doing what I plan to do.
Yeah, we'd love to see you for sure.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Erica.
Thanks for having me on. Have a great day.
Absolutely. You too. That's Erica Larson, race director, St. Jude Rock and Roll Racing Series. You can still register. Over 15,000 people. Wow. That is a lot of people. And it is going to be a fun time on Saturday. And obviously the money and everything that's being raised for an outstanding cause in St. Jude. After the top of the hour headlines, we'll take more of your phone calls. Hey, how about we look at the Texans defense? You want to do that, Mom?
I mean, I'll do it.
Not really.
Scout meeting Wednesday. We'll look at the defense. Take more of your calls on your 5 favorite bands or artists from high school, the ones you listen to the most. 615-737-1045. It's JMart and Ramon here on 1045 The Zone.
8:03, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. We go to the NHL. The Toronto Maple Leafs got the best of the Nashville Predators last night, 3-0 that game in Toronto. Leafs goaltender Jack Campbell posted the shutout with 24 saves. Meanwhile, UC Saros stopped 31, but looked pretty good despite the loss. Predators just their second regulation loss in the last 11 games. Nashville, third place in the Central Division, just 2 points behind first place Winnipeg. Titans roster moves yesterday activated outside linebacker Derek Roberson from injured reserve to the 53-man roster. Also, Hollywood Dylan Cole. He's to the active roster from the practice squad. Titans did sign wide receiver Cody Hollister to the practice squad. The top 7 teams in the college football playoff: Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, Cincinnati at 5, Michigan, and Michigan State. They all won this past weekend, so those are the same teams 1 through 7 again in the rankings announced yesterday. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What the calls there? What's happening? Hour number 3, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Right here in Nashville, 11-year NFL veteran and ball for life, Ramon Foster. Jonathan Schaefer, I'm Jason Martin. At Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. Mike Golic Jr. Next segment, always a conversation not to be missed. Looking forward to it, as always. So Tom Pelissero put up an article this morning about 45 minutes ago. And he does it annually for NFL.com. Nathaniel Hackett, Byron Leftwich, Patrick Graham among young NFL coaches to watch. So in this, I guess he's done this 4 or 5 times, he puts together a list of potential head coaching candidates for NFL jobs. Short list of young coaches who figure to draw interest based on dozens of recent conversations with NFL executives, coaches, and others close to the search process. Candidates are listed in alphabetical order. So there are, let's see, counting them in real time, 13 names here. And then probably 50 that are others to watch in coming years that are basically honorable mention. So in no particular order, I'm not going to read them from the top because there's a reason for this. Bubba Ventrone, Colts special teams coordinator. He's 39. D'Amico Ryans, 49ers defensive coordinator. He's succeeding Robert Saleh. Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma head coach. Rams offensive coordinator Kevin O'Connell. Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. Patriots inside linebacker coach Gerard Mayo, which we had him on the show, and we talked about that during the last cycle. Buccaneers offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich. He didn't get a single interview request during the last hiring cycle during this past offseason. That surprised me reading that in this piece. Chiefs quarterback coach passing game coordinator Mike Kafka. Giants assistant head coach defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, 42. Packers offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett, he's 41. Iowa State coach Matt Campbell is 41. Panthers offensive coordinator Joe Brady is 32. So there's a bunch of names there. And then the third one on the list, if you were doing it if you were doing it alphabetically, Titans offensive coordinator Todd Downing, 41. This is what's written about Downing, and then Mona, I wanted to get your thoughts. Mike Vrabel has already groomed 2 head coaches, Matt LaFleur and Arthur Smith, in the OC spot by training them on how to set a culture with the Titans, and Downing could be next. He was on a head coaching track and on this list as a Raiders offensive coordinator in 2017 before he and the rest of Jack Del Rio's staff were washed out of Oakland to make room for John Gruden. Now in his 17th season as an NFL assistant, Downing is known as a grinder with the right demeanor for the job, and he has shown he can be successful in different ways. Keeping the Titans offense on track without Derrick Henry will only help his cause. I got to say, you tell me if I'm wrong on this, Mon. Doesn't this seem a little premature?
Yeah, I would say that, but this is also the case too. When you have a coach or a coaching tree that is very similar in the things that they've done, LaFleur, Arthur Smith, and it's the common theme in all of them is Mike Vrabel. And again, he's been a guy that I even said early on, he's getting himself a tree. The same way we saw Belichick has a tree. The same way we've seen, let's even go, Rex Ryan has a tree. Sean Payton has one. There's a lot of coaches that have. Andy Reid has a coaching tree. People get hired from these coaching trees, and it's interesting that Todd is already in this conversation. I'd say this. He needs one more year. Like, yes, he's done a little bit with the Raiders in the past, and this year is still got to see how it all, shakes out as far as the production and what's going to happen. But you know what? As much as I'm saying he needs another year, I don't want to see the same coaches be recycled and churned again to another team with a different suit on and some different colors. So with these type of guys getting this opportunity, I think it's good. I just think you need a little bit more of a sample size to actually see what Todd Downing can do. Arthur Smith got a head coaching job, I'd say, quicker than most, but it was deserved because he's proven that, with this offense, as he took control of it, can be very productive. And we've seen what he's done so far in Atlanta. So if Todd Downing is taken serious for head coaching jobs moving forward, I don't think they're wrong considering who Vrabel has elevated under him and what they've done since they've left Nashville. It makes sense, but I think we're a little bit cautious about this one when it comes down to saying, hey, Downing is going to get a job soon. One more year, Jay, to your point about being a little bit premature about it. I need one more year out of him.
Well, I think my issue, and then I want to get your thoughts too, Schaefer, is Downing, since Derrick Henry's gone down, it's not like the offense has really been that great, right? The defense has been really good. Shane Bowen's in the honorable mention, by the way. But this isn't Tom Pelissero putting this list together himself. It's him tabulating what people are saying around the league that he is talking to, what names are coming up, what names are being talked about, what names does he expect to get real consideration, potential interviews, and things like that. Todd Downing has had Derrick Henry, just as Arthur Smith did, but he had Derrick Henry. Now he hasn't had him for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And all we talked about Monday was the offense is eventually going to have to do more than this. It's going to fall on Todd Downing to find out how to maximize what he does still have out there. And I'm not blown away by what I've seen over this 2 weeks. And I think he's got time to pull that off, but I'm just surprised that a guy that did have an interim tag as a head coach with the Raiders for a time, that he's being talked about amongst guys like Joe Brady and Kellen Moore and dudes that have been on this list with Lincoln Riley, guys that have been on this list for years. Schaefer, what do you think of Downing being part of this group that Pelissero put together?
I think I'm surprised and not surprised at the same time. I'm not surprised in terms of this is somebody who's been around the league, has had some success, also some moments where it hasn't gone quite as well. When it comes to this offense, look, this is game 3 without Derrick Henry taking on the Texans.
Right.
They still have games to see whatever this quote-unquote new offense is going to look like for the rest of the season. Now, depending upon how far they go, when they get to the playoffs, because they're going to win the division, they're going to get to the playoffs, and hopefully they will get the number 1 seed, and they're in position to do so right now. That can dictate a lot to how high on this list he gets jumped. I don't know how serious of a candidate he is compared to some of those people on that list. I got to think Byron Leftwich is probably one of the hotter names that's out there right now. So I think the fact that he is at least being put in the second tier, or whatever you want to call it, that his name is in that list. If they can have a successful finish to the season and maybe get another year in and a healthy Derrick Henry back, then I think when we're talking about this again next season, things might be a little bit differently.
When we come back, Mike Golic Jr. will join us from ESPN. Over under on Taylor Swift questions. during this conversation has to be at least 3.
At least 3.
At least 3. But we'll talk all things sports with our pal Mike Golic Jr. on the other side. You never want to miss it when he's on with us. He's next. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Money.
Welcome back, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. At JMart and Ramon on Twitter, 11-year NFL veteran, ball for life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, I'm Jason Martin. Question of the day, number 2, at JMart and Ramon. What were your 5 most listened to bands or artists when you were in high school? And you start to hurt your own feelings because you begin to think of how many other ones you want to put in that list because you feel like you're disrespecting a bunch of artists that you spun a ton, trying to get down to 5, but we have a ton of good responses. So we'll get to those a little bit later on in the program. We appreciate all your phone calls. Right now, though, we welcome in a guy who I don't know if Taylor Swift is all 5 answers or not, but we welcome in Mike Golic Jr., our pal from ESPN. Mike, how are you?
I'm good, and I don't know if she would normally be all 5, but right now, I said this to someone the other day, every minute that I'm not listening to the re-record of Rhett feels like a waste of my time. That's not to say you guys are a waste of my time. That's just a general kind of feeling. This album has a gravity to it, man.
All right. So give us the, hey, we're 2 dudes that probably haven't listened to this album yet. Tell us why we have made bad decisions in our lives that you can help remedy.
Yeah, listen, guys, I just want to take you back to when this album came out. I was in college. This was like 2012-ish when Red came out, and this was a real time of transition. Taylor Swift was trying to shake things up in the music industry, make her way out of country a little bit, so we got some new sights, we got some new sounds in this. But most of all, who doesn't love a good diss track? This is my big sell to everyone with Red. And my play-by-play partner in college football, Anish Shroff, had his eyes open to Taylor Swift this year. He's a big hip-hop fan. And when he listened to All Too Well, Taylor Swift's formerly 5-minute and now after the re-release, 10-minute diss track dedicated to her failed relationship with Jake Gyllenhaal, he said not since Hit 'Em Up has he heard a diss track with this much bite to it. She went for this man's soul. Every time this song comes up, guys, Jake Gyllenhaal trends and must go into witness protection. I'd have to imagine he's had 4 or 5 publicists quit because of this woman. As long as he lives and breathes, he will not know peace. And that is the central thesis of this album. And so I think just off that alone, before you get to some of the other bangers, mass appeal to anyone who's ever been wronged and wanted to write a diss track.
Like, which is crazy. I'm looking him up. Number one, I didn't know his name. Okay, I didn't know who he was, but I knew his face. And I'm looking at him like he seems like an overall like good guy. Like, what did he do to tick her off, man?
That's the one thing we have yet to figure out. But the other like deep layer in all this is really interesting. So in the song, she mentions her red scarf that's still at his sister's house, meaning Maggie Gyllenhaal. And the big part of Taylor folklore has been the scarf has never been returned.
Ooh.
And so you've got people diving into this left and right, and the constant rallying cry is, Jake, just give back the scarf, and this can all get a lot easier. So I don't know why he hasn't finally conceded this. It would be the lone PR win that exists in this for him, but he's content to not acknowledge this and apparently just get body bagged every time this song comes up.
This is a guy that's been nominated for an Academy Award, Mike. Like this is a real live beef, is what you're telling us.
Oh, Ramon, you want to hear the depths of this sickness on this? So Jake Gyllenhaal. So Taylor's been doing a re-record of a lot of her albums for a lot of like musical business reasons that we don't have to get into right now, involving her and Scooter Braun. But one of the re-releases ended up re-recording this song called Wildest Dreams. Jake Gyllenhaal was the voice in an animated movie that came out not too long ago. I want to say it might have been called Brave or something of that nature. But Jake Gyllenhaal was one of the lead voices in that animated movie. When the movie previews started coming out, guess what was the track that they used in the trailer to advertise the movie?
No.
It was Wildest Dreams re-record by Taylor Swift. Even when he is trying to have success and mind his own business, she came back from the rafters and dunked all over him. Off the top rope, flying elbow, letting him know, I am always going to be here right behind you.
So, Golic, are you saying that she basically broke his back?
Yes, I am. I hate you guys.
But you love us. So you love us. So, Mike, who are your top 5 from high school then? Okay, minus Taylor Swift also. That's been a hot topic on the show this morning is top 5 high school bands or artists that you listen to.
Yeah, top 5 from high school was interesting. Like, headlining that list for me, high school was when I discovered Kanye West. Now, we know it was a very different version of Kanye then, but Graduation came out the year I graduated from high school, so it felt like it kind of fit for a lot of those reasons. And that was sort of my intro to Kanye. I had seen Through the Wire and the other stuff. You know, hell, when I was in middle school, you could wake up and watch music videos on MTV2 before you went to school. So that was awesome here. Like, Sean Paul always played real well when you go to, like, the high school dances and stuff like that. Was real big into that. Like, Jim Jones Ballin' stands out for some reason. Like, all of those things pop out to me. But I would say, like, favorite musical artist overall, like, Zach Brown Band was a big one for me growing up. Dave Matthews. I was a white kid from Connecticut. That was the highlight event of the summer every year. And so I would say those two, Taylor Swift, Kanye West, and I'll get back to you on a fifth right now, but those are the ones that really jump off. Like, it was heavy Kanye season in there for sure for me.
No doubt about it.
Hey, Mike, fix the college football playoff system for us, please.
Ooh, man. Well, you know what? Here's the thing I want to remind people. Like, there's never going to be a system we fully like. Like, my favorite thing about all this is the people saying to bring back BCS. Man, listen, we lived through the BCS. Like, I played it. Like, I was one of the last years of the BCS, and people hated that thing.
Mm-hmm.
People hated the computers. They wanted human eyes on all this. And now, because the human eyes are, shockingly, doing the surprising human thing and giving people answers they don't like, people get all ticked off. So I would say this. The expansion is going to happen. It is going to be an 8 or 12 team thing. It's going to open this up to a broader discussion. And that's really what this comes down to, because I saw a great thread on Twitter yesterday that talked about college football is kind of in a weird place right now. People are hiring and firing coaches more rapidly than ever before. The rampant changes have kind of made a system where everyone feels a little more miserable all the time. And so I think just by making it a bigger party, opening it up to 8 or 12 teams, you keep more teams in the discussion year round. You spread a little bit more of the eyeballs around, which spreads a little bit more of the money around, which maybe helps people make better decisions, because all of the competition for money at the top has made this thing really tough. So kick it open. I think 12 teams is a real good number. You get a lot of these teams involved. You have the automatic bids, like they talked about, for the top 6 conference champions, opens it up to group of 5 teams being involved. And then you get a bunch of guys that have to go out there and say, all right, then we're going to fill out the rest of the 6 of this with the 6, most deserving, since it's always that best, most deserving conversation.
What was your takeaway from Mark Slaybaugh's investigative piece? We talked about it yesterday a little bit on the show. Over $500 million in dead money since 2001 to coaches in Power 5 conferences in football and basketball. To me, that's a bigger issue than the college football playoff. How do you fix that? Like, what do you do about this?
So I think those are actually tied together, right? So if we work back from the top, the college football playoff and all of the eyes on the teams that end up in that and around the discussion. It's great for recruiting. It is great for showing people the value of your program, which then the next trickle down is translated to TV dollars. The thing that I think has stuck out to me the more and more I thought about it, think how few programs used to be on television playing football.
Yeah.
Used to be like, that was why Notre Dame was so big for a while, because we were the ones always on TV. Now everyone's got a chance to have eyes on them. And eyes means pressure, because if you've got one TV deal, you could have a better TV deal. And so that competition to try and get to that next level is always there. And so what does that focus on the almighty dollar on that end do? It makes you make rash decisions if you think things aren't going well right now, because now people are watching you do all this, and people are likely watching and comparing you to your neighbor who might be doing a little bit better than you, might have a little more going on over there, might look like, if you're in a group of 5, maybe that team's primed to jump to a Power 5 conference, and you're not. Why is that? And so now you've got teams in the group of 5, teams that are in the middle of the pack in the Power 5, firing coaches after 2 and 3 years when maybe you see signs of progress, but it's not enough yet for you to stay the course. And so, again, I think expansion is going to help that a little bit, but in general, we're probably, like most things, going to have to hit like a critical mass where it's just ridiculous, and these schools can't continue to afford this kind of spending to help make sure recruits feel like this is stable and to help fan bases feel like, hey, we're really trying on this thing. There's got to be a breaking point because this really isn't sustainable.
So, Mike, we're at a point now where it's getting closer to the end of the college football season. And, of course, this has to work itself out as far as this ranking with the college football playoffs. But you have a team in Cincinnati who's undefeated, but you got 3 teams with 1 loss in front of them. Now, yes, I think Alabama will beat Cincy and, and Oregon, but the idea that they're not in because they don't generate, let's be honest, also to this point, enough money, and now you're seeing teams still creep up, like Notre Dame is starting to creep up still, Oklahoma State, like Wake Forest. So between Cincinnati deserving to be in the top 4, if we believe that, and also the idea that if you do go to 12, what would that 12 mean as far as the quality of play? Because right now sitting at 12 is 11 and 12 is Baylor and Ole Miss. Do you honestly think those 2 teams have a real shot at winning a national championship?
Oh, no, I want to make this overwhelming and clear. None of expansion to me is about determining a better, more deserving, or really changing who wins the national championship. Georgia's probably going to win this thing. In any given year, we've got like 2, maybe 3 teams that are really capable of winning a national championship. That's not going to change. This is just about involving more people in the discussion. Like, it's felt like a velvet rope party for 4 teams, and we just want to involve more people in that discussion. Because talent-wise, and you guys know this, there aren't that many teams that are built to compete with the Alabamas, Georgias, Ohio States of the world that recruit at a level that most other people don't. So I think that's always going to be the thing for me, and that's why I used to be against expansion. And then I realized it's not about, who actually wins. That's going to be – you'd have to change scholarship limits to affect who's really going to win in that way. But as far as the Cincinnati part of this, Ramon, I don't think they're a top 4 team right now. Okay. I had Cincinnati back-to-back weeks covering them and got to really peek under the hood there. Their offensive coordinator, Mike Denbrock, was at Notre Dame when I was there. And so if anyone would be rooting for that team, it would be me. But I watched them, and the Cincinnati team from last year, the difference from the one that played Georgia in the Peach Bowl last year and did real well and got everyone excited, is along the lines of scrimmage. Offensively, they are not built the same up front this year. They lost some key pieces, had to move some guys around, and I don't think it's the same bully up front that Luke Fickell had last year. They're in great position right now, though, in this chaotic season to just continue to win. Houston's in the top 25 now, the team they'll likely face in the American Conference Championship game to get up there. And so I said this on the broadcast 2 weeks ago when I had them, and I've been saying it ever since. Their strength of schedule that everyone tried to use as a slight against them, I think is their biggest advantage in this particular year.
Yeah. So on the NFL side of stuff, Mike, how do you even view this year, man? You have a Baltimore Ravens team that lost to the Dolphins. You got the Patriots who completely just boat race the Browns. And last week, the Jags beat the friggin' Bills 9-6, Mike. Like, we do a top 7, bottom 3, and that list has been pretty much the same until this last week as far as, okay, the Titans are up there, the Rams up there, Green Bay is up there. And now you got to knock the Rams down because they've lost 2 in a row. Like, the Titans are, I feel like, one of the top teams in the league, if not the top team in the league. But still, nationally, there's question marks behind this team. What in the world is the NFL this year?
The NFL this year is actually it's so weird, Ramon. We somehow in the same season, in the same fall, got one of the more chaotic, parity-filled college football and NFL seasons that I can remember at the same time. And I don't know if there's a correlation coming off the pandemic, a reason why these things would happen potentially, but it's as wide open as I can remember. And so we've had a lot of these same issues here, especially in the AFC, trying to figure out who we trust. And so I've started to just go to like, all right, what units do I trust that are going to go out here and hold it down for me? Because there are very few complete teams right now. Green Bay might be the closest to that. I don't think they do anything great, but they've got a really high floor right now. We saw that in the Arizona game when they were down Devontae Adams and all their good receivers. So I think right now, if you ask me gun to my head, who do I think the best team in the NFL is, I think it's probably the Dallas Cowboys. I think on their best day when they're healthiest, that offense is the unit I trust the most. and I've seen their defense do enough to take the ball away, to get timely stops, to give it back to them, to where I say, all right, I'm going to give them the benefit right now. I would say Green Bay and Tennessee then are right after that in 2 and 3. However you want to order them is fine to me. Hand to God, I did not see this Tennessee defense coming this year. Didn't think this front was going to be able to do the things that they've done, but we've seen there's a premium on being able to bully people this year. That's what got the Rams knocked off course last night. That's why the Patriots this weekend were able to bloody Cleveland's nose the way that they did. And so I think for that reason, especially Tennessee and then Dallas offensively up front for them, Green Bay starting to get a little bit of that on both sides of the ball. That would probably be the top 3, the upper crust of this thing right now.
Wow.
Mike Golic Jr. with us here on JMart and Ramon. Mike, there's 2 topics that I feel like we have to get your thoughts on, and you can find a way to weave both of them in if you would like. Robert Hunt and what he did on Thursday Night Football, the Dolphins lineman, and Texas Tech's dominance in meat judging.
Let me tell you what. You want to talk about meat judging, and Ramon knows plenty about this here. He's been one of the better meat judgers I've ever come across in my life. Looking at this Robert Hunt play is the happiest I've been all football season, because we can all talk about how it was against the rules, everything like that. That's my favorite part, is it was just instinct for him, right? Like, he saw the ball in the air. And listen, no offensive lineman's ever been coached to catch a screen. That's never been a thing that happens. He's just a playmaker. He saw that, snatched it right from his own running back, smelled the end zone, didn't care what anyone else said, thought, or did. I have this firm belief that if a play is cool enough, we should just allow it to stand. Yeah. Like, if a catch is cool enough in the end zone and there's like an OPI or something like that, forget it. Like, the ref should just come out, call on the field, way too cool, stands as called, touchdown, let that ride. So that is Robert Hunt. And really, us watching Robert Hunt is meat judging, because he is of beef in this spot. And guys, let me tell you, I went down the rabbit hole of articles about this whole Texas Tech meat judging thing and what goes into this here. I mean, there's a 2019 SI article. I wish I had the author's name offhand. This is gripping prose. I mean, people scanning back left to right off these flanks of cows, checking for the striations, checking for the fat in here, in a meat locker, staring this thing up and down, drinking in all the finer notes of grade A top choice American beef. I don't know how we haven't started covering this already. Like, people are going to say, well, this feels like ESPN Ocho territory. I want this on E1. I want meat judging on primetime. And I feel like, again, the foremost meat judge I know, Ramon Foster, should be on that broadcast judging this meat for the nation.
Oh, I hate you. You are never welcome back, Mike. What's wrong with you?
So much.
Hey,
Mike.
On the other side of this, though, Mike, I got to go there because, hey, you're national media, okay? I just got to put you in a box for a second, all right?
Oh, no.
So I need your opinion on something. There's been a little bit. So Baldinger brought up a conversation. We got to find a name for this Titan defensive front. You mentioned it about the rush being good, right? Now, you know, throughout seasons, there's usually themes. There's jokes always. Like, the locker room has its own language. You know this to be true. But a fan of the Titans said, hey, we need a name for this defensive front, this front seven. And he came up with the Tickle Monsters. Mike, where are you at with Tickle Monsters for this Titan defensive front?
Yo, wait, we got to do better as a people. Like, how do you, like, you know what? There's part of me that loves the notion of looking at Jeffrey Simmons, who I've said looks like, what if a bunch of kegs decided to form Voltron? They would be Jeffrey Simmons. And so looking at him dead in the eyes and saying, what's up, Tickle Monster? Like, just drink that in for a second. There's no way in hell we can let this happen, but at the same time, I'm willing to let it slide for right now, just because the thought of Jeffrey Simmons being a Tickle Monster is terrifying and hilarious to me.
See what I'm saying?
Tennessee Tickle Monsters coming to a theater near you. Mike, we appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much for the time, as always.
See you later, Tickle Monsters.
Eventually, we're all three going to, at some point during one of those conversations, say, I hate you guys.
Yeah.
We got two of the three. I didn't say it today, but Golic said it. and then you said it, Moan. If we'd had 5 more minutes, I think we would have hit the trifecta we would have hit for the cycle.
I hate you guys so much.
We push the threshold every time he's on here, and today did not let us down.
Ramon
Jay.
Foster, 11-year NFL vet and expert meat judger.
I can't believe he said that.
Oh, we're going to play that back.
I know it.
Might not know birthdays, but he is definitely an expert at meat judging.
Mm-hmm. Judge that meat. Judge that meat.
615-737-1045. The background question today is
meat judging.
I can't do it now. Top 5 bands, artists you listened to in high school. Drop us those. When we come back, Ramon Foster attempts to guess birthdays. He might be able to judge meat, but he can't judge celebrities. Be right back. JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. You want to talk to the people? Talk to the people. Is this your big moment?
Welcome back to JMart and Ramon. I'm your co-host, Ramon Foster. Jason now has his daughter CG, and she's co-hosting with him this morning. I don't think he realized that she's actually controlling the show right now. She's 7-month-old.
Yeah, if you're on the YouTube right now, on the YouTubes are also on Twitch, checking out Zone TV right now. CG up to the microphone. Hashtag free CG.
Hashtag free CG, man. She's biting the mic, and no one cares right now, man.
And what's funny is she's not talking and still has a better voice than Jason at the moment.
I'd listen to a baby's voice all day. She does sound exactly how Jason mocks her.
Yeah, because Jason kind of whines like that.
He whines.
Hey, big close-up on the Zone TV. Yeah, hey, hey.
If you're on Zone TV right now, everybody's yelling free CG because he's got her in some hand clamps right now. Will not let go of this baby.
That's not true.
He will.
What's wrong? What is wrong with all of you?
Let go of that baby, man.
I hate you guys.
I was co-hosting with a baby just a second ago. That's a first. It's got to be a first.
And some would say you do every day.
Yeah. Throwing darts. Today is still your day, Jay, and it's all right.
It's very obviously my day.
Hey, first of all, Jay's been a trooper today. Let's be serious about this. You know,
if I can be serious for a minute.
Definitely doing well under the weather.
You want a cookie for doing your job?
He's a little under the weather. I'm not saying we give him a cookie, but hey, you can at least pat him on the butt and be like, hey, good job.
Slap him on his cheeks is what I'm going to do.
I think that's the same thing.
All right. Moan.
Come on, Jay.
Man. Hey.
Rachel McAdams is 43.
Mean Girls.
That's right.
Am I for real?
Yeah.
Hell
That's
yeah.
right.
What?
I'm logging off right now.
I'm logging off of my life right now.
Oh.
She's done a lot, but that would be
Sherlock Holmes. That's the
yeah,
movie.
she's done a lot.
Yeah. He got it right.
I thought you might.
It felt right, Shay.
And it was right.
Meat judging, baby.
Stephen Root.
Stephen Root
is 70.
Stephen Root. Was he in Goodfellas?
No.
He wasn't. Harry Potter.
No.
Hunger Games?
No.
Y'all should have let me quit while I was ahead,
It
man.
was Jimmy James.
Jimmy James and
News Radio.
Milton in Office Space.
Daltreve, King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
Also was
He was a voiceover in King of the
guest
Hill?
appearance for a while on the West Wing.
He was in Justified.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Barry right now on HBO.
Oh, brother, where art thou? He was the recording engineer.
That root has sprung up in a lot of different places in Hollywood.
Jason said that root has sprung up in a lot of different places in Hollywood, Rhett.
As Rhett just walked into the studio.
He's dying laughing right now.
You're on, Rhett.
You're on, Rhett. Your mic is hot, baby.
Daisy Fuentes.
Oh,
55.
Daisy Fuentes. That ain't the head coach.
Boy,
Used to be head coach.
Wait,
at
she's
Virginia.
55?
It's Justin Fuentes.
Wow.
Yeah, she's 55.
Ramon
That makes me feel old.
Yeah.
No.
No, she's not Justin Fuentes. She did not get fired by Virginia
No,
Tech
she did not.
yesterday.
Speaking of her childhood, spring break
Much better
MTV
looking
in the
than
90s,
Justin
baby.
Fuentes, too.
Oh, was she in Sex and the City?
No, she could have been.
Could have been.
Could have been. Oh, okay.
She's hotter than all of them.
Yes,
Missing
true.
Missing was it Sarah? What is it? What? Sarah Marshall?
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Nah. I missed that one. I should have quit while I was ahead. I guessed that first one right, and I've been downhill ever since.
She was a VJ on music.
MTV.
television.
Was she on
Yep.
MTV?
Yep.
Yep.
Jeez.
Many years.
Lauren Michaels, 77, Moan.
Lauren Michaels.
Let me say it this way. Lauren Michaels.
Yep.
Co-host for Price is Right.
Nope.
That's
That was not Rod Roddy.
Was not
That was
Rod
the
Roddy
late, great
or one of his
Don
jackets.
Pardo.
Don Pardo, yeah.
Wasn't Bob Barker's substitute host?
No.
It wasn't him. Okay.
Nor was it John Barker at Two Rivers
One of the
Ford.
longest running shows on NBC. Comes on a night over the weekend.
ER?
Nope.
Saturday Night Live, man. He tried to lead you to water, and you would not drink.
You can drown
You
him,
need
though.
the water after all.
Lorne
the
Michaels is the mastermind behind SNL.
Been all
straight
downhill
up.
since Rachel McAdams.
Yes.
Martin Scorsese, 79.
Hey, the movie producer, baby. Let's go Goodfellas. Come on now.
Okay.
Now
and
we're
producer,
talking.
yeah.
And director, but he got
And
Goodfellas,
director,
so that
yeah,
works. You got
yeah.
2 right today.
Hey.
What?
That's Hall of Fame in baseball.
3.
Still amazing how many times he did not win Best Director.
Yeah.
That's true.
Casino
It took
2?
forever.
Yeah, Casino.
Yeah, he did
That's
do
right.
Casino, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's done a lot, man. He has done
One of the
an
best.
awful lot.
Has he yet to win Best Film? Or Best Producer?
Best director.
He has
Director?
won Best Director.
He has. Okay. All
He
right.
has done it once.
Was that for The Departed?
Yes.
It
Okay,
was?
I thought so.
The Departed?
Yes.
I think so.
That movie
Yes.
had a lot of twists and turns,
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
And
Scorsese
come to
flick.
find out, he wasn't even dead.
Hey, thanks, Ramon. Spoiler alert.
They don't even know who I'm talking
Oh,
about.
wait a minute. The Departed's been out for about 10
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Let's
I'm
be
being
honest.
Longer than,
Yeah.
longer
I'm
than
being-
10.
And they made another movie
Hey.
about it.
Hey, I'm being
Stupid.
okay.
No, Rhett's my guy. He'll throw mitts for me. Ain't that right?
Yeah, I
Rhett?
will on that one. I mean, let's be honest. It didn't come out last week.
So I'm 3 for 3. I'm 500.
Kiss my ass.
So I just want to see. I just want to see if you get this right because I think you have a shot at it based on how you usually do this.
Whew.
Isaac Hansen is 41.
From the band Hanson, the brothers.
I knew you would do it because you would just go straight
Now
to
you
there.
batting 300.
Now hey, I think I'm above 500 right now, Rhett.
He took that Adirondack 32-ounce bat and swung that sucker over the fence.
Talking about hammer this root, baby.
Man,
Woo!
Ramon just went right there. Right
He
there.
absolutely
right on
did.
the table.
Yeah.
One more just as we go to break.
Oh, now he just want a bonus.
No, this isn't you. This is me giving one out. Actually,
Yeah, bud.
producer for Ben Maller's show that you hear on Fox Sports Radio, who used to work with me in the mornings for Fox, a pal, a fellow Broncos fan, Justin Cooper. He's 33 today. He's mentioned in this same article that I'm reading because he was the kid in Liar Liar with Jim Carrey.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you talked about this the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
He does a lot. We've talked a lot about it. He was a child actor, and the most famous role was being in Liar Liar as the kid in that film. So he turned 33 today. I just wanted to say happy birthday to him
Oh, happy birthday.
on the way out. Fourth hour of the show coming up. Scout meeting. We're not going to try and scout the Texans again because we like our lives, but Rhett Bryan's here also because we like our lives. It's all after the headlines here on JMart and Ramon 104.5 The Zone.
I'm logging off of my life right now.
Baker Birdwell is the disability brokerage that your financial advisors can count on to deliver disability income protection, one of the least known about insurance coverages. What is your most valuable asset, I ask you? You probably think it's your home. Think again. It's your income. May sound crazy, but let's explain. For easy math, say you make about $50,000 a year and you're 35 years old. Even if you get if you get a pay rate, no pay raise, you'll make about $1.5 million in your working lifetime. I'm guessing your house is probably a little bit less than $1.5 million, even in this Nashville crazy housing market. Without that income, though, you cannot supply that house or the car or even groceries for your family. You need that income. As a former pro athlete, it wasn't a thought about ensuring my income or career, but the same applies to you as well. Have you ever considered what would happen if you couldn't continue your career due to health or due to an injury? For 2 or 3% of your income, you can insure 6% of your income tax-free. That is the best part about it. You may know about the short-term and long-term group disability plans that your employer may provide, but with them paying the premium for you, the benefits you get paid are also taxable. Could you live off 40% of your income and still provide for you and your family? because after taxes, that's probably what you're going to get from your group disability plan, about 40% of your income. Disability insurance is one of the most undersold, underutilized, but most needed products. Baker Birdwell is the best resource for financial advisors and insurance agents. They are a trusted friend working with your trusted advisor, and to be sure that you are properly insured. Best thing about it, they are local and want to see their community be protected. That's awesome. Have you ever thought about your yearly income, the 15, 20 years down the line of your life? Your earning potential may not only be important to your current family, but also to your future family as well. Have your financial advisor or insurance agent give Baker Birdwell a call and talk through the many ways to get you insured and compare your current plan to the one that you have now to make sure it's up to date. This is the thing. This past year has taught us a lot. Bad things can happen to good people. We just want to implore to everyone how important it is to insure your income. Baker Birdwell is here to work with your trusted advisor. Their phone number is 615-309-5958, or you can visit their website at www.bakerbirdwell.com, or even if you want to email them at info@bakerbirdwell.com.
.903, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Tennessee Titans activated outside linebacker Derek Roberson from injured reserve to the 53-man roster. Also, linebacker Dylan Hollywood Cole, or Hollywood Dylan Cole, however you want to call him. He's on the active roster now from the practice squad. The team did sign wide receiver Cody Hollister to the practice squad. NHL, Toronto Maple Leafs defeated the Nashville Predators 3-0 last night in Toronto. Leafs goaltender Jack Campbell, 24 saves for the shutout. UC Saros, 31 saves for the Preds, but not quite enough for Nashville. Just their second regulation loss in the last 11 games. Preds now in third place in the Central Division, just 2 points behind first place Winnipeg. And college football playoff rankings announced yesterday. It's the same as the week before. Top 7 teams: Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, Ohio State, Cincinnati, Michigan, and Michigan State all won this past weekend. Remain 1 through 7 in the latest college football rankings. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit usstn.com. Breaking news at once on over the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Fourth hour, hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio is upon you. It's upon us. We're blessed to bring it to you courtesy of All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Breaking from Rich Cimini. In a surprise, the Jets are planning to start Joe Flacco versus Miami. Zach Wilson still not 100%. Flacco's experience likely a big factor in the decision. In case you were wondering how it's going in New York for first-year head coach Robert Saleh. 11-year NFL veteran involved for life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer. I'm Jason Martin. We're on Twitter at JMart and Ramon. Rhett Bryan's with us from Titans Radio, of course, at Titans Radio, at Rhett B, Tennessee to find him. Rhett, what's happening?
Just getting ready for a big AFC South division matchup between the Houston Texans and the Titans. And look, I know it's hard to focus on them because they're 1-8. They're in the bottom of the standings and those things. But we're going to bring some things to light that, they can't sleep on. They should be able to take care of business, but they can't let dudes hang around and end up having a loss to the team that you just mentioned in the New York Jets. That's the one glaring thing on their record so far this year. And the Jets makes me think of something else. I was talking to Ramon in the hallway earlier about this whole deal with the Titans having so many guys on the active roster this far into the season. They're going to break the record of 84 guys throughout a season, and they've got, a handful of games left. And when you look at the other people on that list, and it's usually a dubious list, they're the only team with a winning record. But you look at the Jaguars and the Jets both went through this last year, as did the 49ers. But the Jags and the Jets in particular, that's 3 wins between the two of them last year. And the Titans are 8-2 in this. It's really an amazing thing with what Mike Vrabel's doing coaching, what general manager John Robinson's doing with bringing in and churning the roster, and then what the training staff is doing to keep this thing going. It's amazing.
Yeah, and to give a little insight to what this team will be facing, especially offensively against this defensive side of the Houston Texans. Man, I'll give a quick rundown, Rhett and Jay, and we can get more into it. But defensively, it's a lot like their offense. Defensively, the Texans are ranked 30th. Overall, they are 31st in the run, 18th in the passing game. Lovie Smith is their defensive coordinator. Very respected guy. I don't know if this team is right for him. Good head coach, respected individual around the league. They are giving up 43.7% on third down. This is the part in which the Titans and everybody else has been taking advantage of them. In the red zone, teams have been there 36 times. Most of the times you want to get more field goals out of this. Well, teams have scored 23 touchdowns against them, the 36 trips they've made to the red zone on them. Everybody gets a turn. You get a score, Rhett. You get a score.
Thank you, Oprah.
You get a score. Everybody gets a score against this team. You got to think if they're not scoring touchdowns, then the field goals got to be pretty much complete also. Again, defensively, they're giving up 385.9 yards a game. I'm sorry, but that is a lot for an NFL team. With 136.9 of that coming on the ground. Compared to the Titans, who are giving up 98.6. Also giving up 15 rushing touchdowns and 16 passing touchdowns. So there's balance there, Rhett.
Not the kind you want, but
not the kind you want, but there's balance, man. The lead tackler, Christian Kursky, is on IR right now. Jonathan Greenard.
It's Grenard. Yes.
Grenard.
He's a hoss.
He's a hoss. Okay.
Yeah.
Of, I think, the 14 sacks they got on the season, he has 7 of them. Also, in the secondary, Lonnie Johnson has 3 picks, along with the savvy vet. Justin Reed has 2 also. And remember, they were on this trading spell for a little while, too. They got rid of a bunch of players.
Oh, yeah.
Some cogs in the wheel when it comes down to their franchise. They traded away Whitney Merciless, but I'll say this. He's on IR with Green Bay, too. And truth be told, that is the gist of what their defense is. I'm sure you got a little bit more than I do, Rhett, but the balance part I thought was pretty cool.
Well, they have 14 takeaways, 9 interceptions. They've caused a lot of fumbles. That's the thing that the Titans have to pay attention to.
Yes, sir.
Because despite those numbers you just put out there, when you talk about 14 takeaways, that's no joke this far through the season.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. Jonathan Grenard, the second-year man from Florida, Coach Mack and I vetted him heavy coming out of the draft. We liked him a lot. 7 quarterback sacks, 3rd among players aged 24 or younger in the NFL, tied for 11th overall in the NFL in sacks. Also, he's one of only 3 guys right now in the NFL with 7 or more sacks and 3 or more pass breakups.
Yeah.
The other 2, T.J. Watt and Big Jeff.
Ugh.
So, I mean, he's got some good company there.
4th-year guy also, so he's coming up on about that money you owe me.
Yeah. Let me hold some of that. Zach Cunningham, from Vandy, is a tackling machine and all this. You always have to watch for him. The thing that the Titans defense is going to have to watch for, Tyrod Taylor, I didn't realize this. He does not turn the ball over a whole lot.
Right. For
this figure that I'm going to give you among all active NFL quarterbacks with a minimum 1,000 pass attempts, only 1.55 per attempt is his interception percentage. And that's trails only Aaron Rodgers and Jacoby Brissett for how little he throws interceptions in this thing.
Yeah, but those other 2 have never been stabbed in the lung by a trainer, though.
Well, that's true.
That's right.
But that didn't happen with the Houston Texans. That happened as a Charger the year before. But yes, he
Don't
might
let facts get in the way of a story.
he might be a little snake bit, as you're saying. But here's the thing that the Titans defense has to watch for. The clear weapon that they have is Brandon Cooks.
Yes, sir.
And
he's been a Titans killer in the past.
That's
too.
right. And Jason, it's on 3rd down. Of his 60-some-odd receptions, 19 of those have come on 3rd down, and of his 641 receiving yards, 268 of those yards have come on 3rd down. They have to watch where Brandon Cooks is when it's 3rd and distance.
Yeah, he's the weapon. I mean, you said it. I was going to ask you immediately was be like, look, Brandon Cooks is a guy that has had success against the Tennessee Titans in the past, and he's a guy that can just be very elusive and very hard to deal with. And your point about Taylor's app too. The thing about Taylor that I think people don't get is Taylor's pretty good. He's just not great. Like he's just an 8 or 9 win kind of quarterback on a team that has stuff around him. Problem is he didn't have a whole lot around him, but he's not going to do a whole lot of things to help you get beat if you're putting him out there to be your quarterback. He is very careful. He's cautious, maybe to a fault sometimes, because I think he could probably do more if he's willing to take a few more risks. But there's a lot of guys in this league that I would put beneath Tyrod Taylor when it came to putting somebody on the field that I thought could win a game for me. Maybe not for a season, but certainly a game or two. I'd much rather have him than a lot of other guys.
And the thing about Tyrod Taylor too, and I'm not saying he's, Patrick Mahomes in this respect or anybody else that can pull it down and run, but he can make plays with his legs. You have to be careful with that. He's not Josh Allen on design runs and all that kind of stuff, but he can convert some yardage with his legs off schedule.
More with Rhett when we come back. We'll talk about where the Titans find themselves in the conference right now, what everybody's power rankings look like, all that good stuff, and what has to happen for this to continue to be sustained. And also Tom Pelissero and his list of candidates to keep in mind that he's hearing a whole lot of buzz from inside the league in terms of the next head coaching cycle. Titans offensive coordinator is on that list. We'll be right back. It is JMart and Ramon on 104.5 The Zone.
JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. A little Colt bringing us back from break. Thank you for that. Jonathan Schaefer, he's behind the glass alongside Ramon Foster, Rhett, Bryan. And if you've been listening this morning, Jason Martin under the weather and decided to go get some rest and some fluids and those good things. And so we wish him a speedy recovery. He's not feeling well, so I'm going to take this thing with Ramon and Schaefer the rest of the way this morning. And I will come in tomorrow morning and host for Jason. And me and Ramon, we've done that before. We can handle it.
You know what, Rhett? You're being too sensible. Let's just say we kick Jason out. Is that better? Can we say that?
Or are you going to go with the loafing?
Yeah, loafing.
He's just loafing?
No, he couldn't finish the last.
He's like a big loaf of pumpernickel.
That dude's sick.
He absolutely is. I mean, he sounded terrible. Bless his heart, he did not.
He was a trooper.
Yeah, he powered through as much as he could, but anyway.
Hour.
All right, so I heard you guys talking this morning, all morning long, about your 5 most listened to cassettes, records, albums, high school stuff. So here's mine in no particular order. AC/DC, Ozzy Osbourne, probably Black Sabbath in there, but then it goes to the other side here. LL Cool J was really something back then. The ladies love Cool J.
Ladies love Cool J.
But the thing I wore, the lettering off of the cassette, was Eazy-E, Easy Does It.
Straight
he
up.
had just spun off with his solo stuff from NWA.
Yeah.
And, Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, Boys in the Hood. Oh, yes.
If I'm
Yeah,
talking
right.
that,
Yeah.
We'll pull your card. Knowing nothing in life but to be legit. Don't quote me, boy, because I ain't said bleep.
Hey, come on, Rhett. The mini sides.
A car pulls up. Who can it be? A fresh El Camino rolling Kilo G. He rolled down his window and he started to say, "It's all about making that GTA."
Oh, one time for Rhett, man. That's the reason you are who you are, Rhett. I don't really know if there's been a conversation we've had that you didn't know a little bit about. There's been numerous times I'm like, wow, Rhett continues to just shock his guy. And I'm here for it, Rhett.
I've been around a minute, too.
I'm completely here for it, man.
But, Generation 1 style rappers, I mean, I enjoyed a lot of that back then. Because I'm going before. This is Dre with NWA. This is not Dre and Snoop, and which I really liked when that came out. 2-3 years later. But that was me.
By the way, though, Dre was a magician with everything that he did with NWA, with Easy, and then go to Snoop, and then go to Eminem. Like his list of when they were doing those verses, online competitions with the music on Instagram a while back. If Dre actually went up against somebody, as far as who was in the same realm as him, Rhett, who would you even name? Dre versus. I really have no idea as far as producers go.
No,
and I might be missing someone.
Well, here's the thing: he is a mogul in hip hop and rap.
Yeah,
There are producers in other genres who are super well respected, just like Dre is. Dre is brilliant.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm wearing Beats headphones because I got a lot of respect for this dude.
Yeah.
But when you think in rock or pop music, George Martin, who produced all the Beatles records,
wow,
brilliant person. Alan Parsons, who had the Alan Parsons Project, but he produced. Namely, Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. But there's brilliant producers like that in many genres of music. But Dre has his own spot right there with all of them.
He does. Auntie Erin on Zone TV says she rose up from her nap hearing you say a little easy, Rhett. So you made her wake up after hearing you freestyle a little bit right there. Acapella.
Hey, let's go to the phone, 615-737-1045. Rick in Nashville, go ahead. You're on with JMart and Ramon.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
My thought will be a little bit off compared to a lot of what you guys are talking. Of course, my little brother, he was more into Snoop and Dre and Tupac and all them. I kind of went the other way. I went with No Doubt, Sublime, Real Big Fish, Rancid, and Social Distortion. Those are probably my top 5. And got to throw Dropkick in there now, but of course that wasn't high school. But those are my 5 going in.
That's a good collection, man. I like it.
No doubt. Wow.
You had some ska in there. You had some
Some No Doubt. That was pretty good.
That's some ska, man.
What's really cool though is the thing about it is, and I do a lot on YouTube. If you go on there and like Gin and Juice, you go on Gin and Juice that has the punk or ska cover. They'll have punk and ska covers of all those rap CDs that you guys love, and some of it's actually pretty good. There's a version of Hey Ya by Outkast that this punk band did. I mean, they just blew it out the water.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think it was Outkast singing with them playing. So there's some really cool stuff out there if you look it up on YouTube, where these guys will go in and they'll punk it out or they'll do a ska version of one of the rap songs you guys love. And I mean, it'll really blow you out of the water. Like working out, something like that. This is like a track where you're in the gym. It'll really get you going.
Rick, I appreciate the call, and that's a great. There's so many cross hybrid, collaborations and just stuff you can find everywhere. YouTube is one of those.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go back to the phones. Glenn in Nashville. You're on with JMart and Ramon. Rhett, Bryan in for Jason Martin. Go ahead.
Let's go.
Yeah, good morning, guys. You have me reflecting back on my old school days of they got a committee to kick me off the block because I say my rhymes loud and I say them nonstop. That's the Beastie Boys' License to Ill. I wore out.
Glenn, ring that bell, Glenn. I like it. Yeah, Beastie Boys was something we listened to quite a bit. I was in on the ground floor of that when with No Sleep Till Brooklyn, License to Ill, Brass Monkey. I mean, we played all that back then.
I went
Absolutely.
back and listened to License to Ill and really didn't understand how much of that album had been sampled by people that I loved as musicians.
Sure.
And really had no idea that it was actually, I ain't gonna say stolen content from the Beastie Boys, but it was borrowed from them, man. On that, one of the most famous, one of the best groups I love is 3 6 Mafia. I'm a Tennessee guy.
Sure.
From Tennessee, enjoyed their music. And like, that's all I knew, really. Until like high school, senior year, and like going to college, so I got exposed to other people. That's when my music palette kind of like expanded a little bit more. But when you hear that, from the Beastie Boys on that License to Ill song, I thought like 3 6 Mafia came up with that. No, that was the Beastie Boys, man. And there's so many other lines and just hooks they took from that album over the course of time. It's a good album if you hadn't listened to it.
Here's the thing about music in general, Ramon, is it's all derivative of something.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones and the Beatles and all those over in England loved rockabilly. They loved Carl Perkins, Elvis Presley, those, and then they loved R&B, and they kind of married all that together. But the blues is and gospel is kind of the base of everything, and then it works out from there. By the way, Beastie Boys. Let me ask you this. Did you know the Beastie Boys is actually an acronym that actually stands for something?
No, I did not.
All right,
know that.
here we go. Beastie, boys entering anarchistic states towards internal excellence. That's the Beastie Boys.
Did not realize that. Had no idea.
I didn't. I wondered if you did, but when he brought it up, when Dave, who called in a minute ago, brought it up, I was like, hey, you know what? I bet a lot of people don't remember that their group name is an acronym.
I had no idea. And the song I was referring to with the hook at the end of the song is the New Style.
Mm-hmm.
I love when they break down the end of that song, right? It is a phenomenal part of music to me.
Let's go back to the phones. Daryl in Hermitage. You're on with Ramon Foster, Rhett, Bryan in for Jason Martin here on 104.5 The Zone. Go ahead, Daryl.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? I'm going to give you my top 5 right here.
Go for it.
We're going to start with Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye's all-time favorite singer, crooner, however you want to call it. He did some stints with Diana Ross, Tammy Terrell.
Sure.
We're going to go with Prince, musician. He can pick up any musician.
Musical genius.
Any instrument and play it. Saw him in concert back in 2000, 2001. We'll go with Ice Cube, all-time, one of my all-time favorite rappers. Now I'm gonna flip it for you. Y'all might be not be ready for this one. I'm gonna go with Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart with the Faces. Then he did solo. Love some Rod Stewart.
Yeah.
My favorite 3-piece band of all time. These dudes are geniuses. Is Rush.
Yeah.
Best drummer, best bass player.
Neil Peart.
And Alex Lifeson really doesn't give any credit for he's actually top 5 all-time guitar player right there. So Rush, there you have it.
That's an eclectic mix, Daryl. I love it. That's good.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for calling. All right, so the last 2 he mentioned, first of all, Rush, And he's right. Neil Peart was their drummer. Actually, I think he just died last year.
Wow.
One of the best percussionists in music, period, but certainly in rock. They were a progressive rock group from the early 70s, a Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
And they went out of, again, like I was talking about with music kind of splitting off and going different veins of the musical tree. They were progressive rock with some other groups that are defined in that. And that excellent musicians, excellent show. Couldn't say enough about those. Rod Stewart, one of my favorites, the other guy you mentioned. Guy from England, and super. Been making great records for 50 years. Seen him 3 or 4 times in concert, and he's done anything from old rock stuff, from the Small Faces, as Daryl was mentioning, all the way up to doing songs from the Great American Songbook, doing swing type songs. But anyway.
Yeah,
this is good. I love these
right
topics.
There. By the way, too, I would have loved, man. Number one, the artists that go too soon, Prince, Michael. You know what I'm saying? Like to hear the stories of people talk about how they would invite you into their house and they do concerts, or specifically Prince,
Paisley Park.
Like, could you imagine getting an invite? And I
know someone who went to one of those.
Really?
Yeah, so my wife used to work for this company in Cool Springs, Primus. It was Ford Motor Credit, and they were collection agents.
Yeah.
For people who were a little past due. She in fact, my wife, her region was West Coast, and she didn't physically repo the cars, but she would hire agents to repo. She repoed cars from Arnold Schwarzenegger. She repoed 4 Hummers from him one time. She repoed cars from Robert Downey Jr.,
you do the Hummer now.
Yeah, take my hand.
Did he just get him off the lot and not pay? Because I don't never remember Arnold being broke.
You would be surprised who this happens to.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, who's spending his money?
That too. That too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so one of her friends from college was working there. She got her a job there and transferred to an office in Minneapolis. And she messaged us one night and said, I'm going to Paisley Park.
Oh.
And saw him play out of his garage.
Yeah.
And he would do that frequently. And I mean, the stories like that are endless. They said he was kind of an unassuming dude. He'd ride around town on his bicycle or whatever. And you'd be like, there goes Prince Rogers Nelson right there. There he is. And his vault, unreal.
I heard they still can't get in.
There's part of it they can't. There's a main vault that they have access to, but there's something in a locked combination vault that I've heard.
That's where Jimmy Hoffa is.
I've heard he's got enough music stored away that he could release an album every month posthumously for probably the next 10 years.
That's insane.
Just hundreds of tracks we've never heard. Well, you say a guy is a gym rat and he's a film rat, working out, doing what you did for 11 years. This guy was a studio rat. He was in there working on studio on something all the time.
It makes sense to me. I mean, and just the way he was so inviting. A lot of people like to hide their talents, right? As a former player, if I knew a guy that was in direct competition with me, I wouldn't shy away from it. No, come on, let me teach you.
Sure.
Because if you can beat me or you better than me, you deserve it. And I need to know if I'm just as good too. It seemed like that was Prince when it came down to his art. He wanted to show you or invite you into, okay, this is what artistry is. This is what being a musician is, man. And it's interesting when you get people who, let's say Prince is probably top 1% of all musicians in the world when we look at what he did and how he came along the way. As far as I'm correlating it to sports, to music can be competition also.
Sure.
When you're that type of person, and there's some artists that that did the same thing as Prince did, but they're not Prince level. And what I'm getting to is this. When you have a guy that's become an elite or is elite, you see differences in what it takes to stay at that level. Watching Jeff do some stuff now, you're like, oh, okay, that's different. You mentioned when Julio came onto that field out there for the first time, you realize, oh.
That's what that looks like.
So with Prince and how I'm correlating what he did and how he opened up himself to show you, look, this is what the real deal looks like. It's got to be cool, man, to actually be able to witness that type of stuff, to be invited in
just a relaxed setting.
In a relaxed setting. One of my favorite artists is Kendrick Lamar, and he got that invite too. And he was just like, I heard an interview when he was describing going to Prince's crib, and he was just like, you wouldn't believe that it was him playing the piano, go to the guitar, get it behind the mic, and just dance the entire time. It's like, it makes you raise the bar of what
he was
you
a
think
musical
good
genius.
is.
No, he was a musical genius for real. I'm glad you brought up Jeffrey Simmons too.
Yeah.
What he's done in this 6-game win streak, by my count, not official, not coach's film, 21 tackles, 6 quarterback sacks. I forget how many tackles for loss.
Mm-hmm.
I forget how many pressures in that time because he's got 44 on the year. And all the goal line stands, the 4th down stops.
Yeah.
This dude is coming into his own.
Right.
I'm not saying he's Aaron Donald. There's one of those. But this guy is starting to put some numbers and do things on big stages that make you pay attention. His name is starting to get mentioned when you say Aaron Donald because of where he is as a big man.
Yeah, oh, no doubt the way he's making it happen. And I'll say this too. I know people want to correlate him to AD, Aaron Donald. The guy that I'm looking at, Jeff, like because I went against him every single day and I saw him go from a young guy like, man, he going to be all right, he works hard, to all-pro is Cam Hayward. To me, they play the same. Their attitudes are the same. Their body types are very much the same. And just their trajectory and where they went in their career is very, very similar now, man.
Cam Hayward has had an outstanding career.
He's a headache, and you know that to be true, too. I told you this last year. The guys that played Jeff that I played with in Pittsburgh is like, man, 98 is a headache. He's a problem. And I see a lot of their correlation. Of course, Fletcher Cox is a guy also that I think Jeff is more like than Aaron Donald. I think the difference between the Aaron Donald comparison and Jeff is this, the size. You don't expect Aaron Donald to do this, but you see Jeff, and you said he's a big dude in person.
Yeah.
He's a big guy.
Well, he was like Albert Hainsworth here years ago.
He's like Hainsworth. He's
monster
like Fletcher.
size.
You know what I'm saying? He's like Cam.
That's right.
It's those guys I see him being most like, man.
Hey, we got a top 5 coming in on the phones here. Mike in White House. Mike, you're on with JMart and Ramon. Rhett, Bryan in for Jason Martin. Go ahead, Mike.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, guys. Good morning. Appreciate y'all taking my call this morning.
Sure.
All right, so my top 5 is from the 90s era. It's Dayton Family, 3-6 Mafia, like Moan had mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Master P.
Percy Miller.
Boys to Men.
ABC DVD.
All of them, yeah. And then I'll probably have to throw out Bone Thugs and Harmony for the last one.
You ain't wrong. By the way, Bone and
solid
3-6,
list, Mike.
They're supposed to do a versus very soon too. I'll be tuned in. That is a solid. He said the Dayton Family. God,
yeah, that sent you reeling a little for a second. Whoa, hey.
It's so funny,
17
too.
chiming in.
The thing I love about music, Rhett, and this is my thing, I never want people to mess up music and sports. Let those two things be, okay? And we've heard people that I assume are white, people who I assume are black, say different blending. Like, we've had black people say rock stuff.
Yeah.
We've had white people say hardcore rap stuff. I'm just thinking, that's what life is. Like, live your life like how you love your music. Don't do some of the stuff. Enjoy the process. You know what I'm saying?
We don't want to live Grand Theft Auto, the video game. But boy, is it fun to visit.
It is.
All right. When we come back, always needed the great Inky Johnson, midweek motivation. We wrap up Wednesday that way with the great Inky Johnson next on JMart and Ramon here on 104.5 The Zone.
Yes!
We're nearing the end of 2021, and it has been a year. It's honestly been a last 2 years, but I'm not here to judge. And I'm sure most of you have experienced and struggled with the supply chain issues due to COVID. I know I have, and these days it's just not as easy to get the things that you want when you want them. But my friends at Two Rivers Ford have some great news. New inventory is coming in every single day. So if you're in the market for a new Ford, make sure to check out tworiversford.com daily and see what's arrived on the lot. If you want someone at Two Rivers Ford to contact you when the vehicle you're looking for comes in, give them a shout and they'll make sure you get alerted. The salespeople at Two Rivers Ford don't work on commission, so you never have to worry about them pressuring you into doing something or taking a car that you don't want. They are there to simply make things easier for you. Also, if you know exactly what vehicle you want and you want to order it, Two Rivers Ford can do that for you also. They now have a built-for-you program where you can order any model, any color, any available feature. You can order your Ford today and get it delivered right to your doorstep when it's manufactured. There's a reason why my friends at Two Rivers Ford have been doing business for almost 40 years, and that's because they make the customer experience hassle-free, honest, and easy. So for all things Ford, reach out to the most trusted Ford dealership in Tennessee, my friends at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, but driven by people.
It's the Beastie Boys, 104.5 The Zone, the home for Titans football, and the home for JMart and Ramon. Rhett, Bryan in for the under-the-weather Jason Martin. He powered through as much as he possibly could. Bless his heart, he certainly sounded like he didn't feel good. And so I will come in tomorrow and help fill in for him. So it'll be Rhett, Moan, and Ramon.
Rhett, Moan, and Ramon.
This was Jason most of today.
I'm iffy, Jack.
Yeah. He's a little iffy.
He is a little iffy. But credit to him for powering through. Let's go to another top 5 call here. Darrington in East Nashville. Hit us with your top 5.
What's up, Darrington?
What's going on, Ramon? What's going on, Rhett? You know what I'm saying? Erie, Rhett, DJ, favorite person. All right, man, I got the top 5, man. And listen, man, I just had nothing to do with that man lifestyle. I had nothing to do with it, but this is who I grew up off of. Number 5, I would go R. Kelly. I just grew up off his music. I just think what he did for the music game is just undeniable. Number 4, I got Usher Raymond. Just my generation. That's the time frame that I was in. Number 3, as a group, I'm saying as a group, once again, going up in this era, the Hot Boys. That was just my time. Number 2, which is kind of surprising, my father put me on this group from way back in the day, the Shy-Lights. And then numero uno.
That's some great Chicago soul right there, man. Really good.
Yeah. And then my number 1, to me, who's still my GOAT, Lil Wayne. That's my 5.
That's a great list.
That's very
Thanks for chiming in, Darrington. Appreciate it.
Well-versed right there.
How about that?
I saw Lil Wayne in concert in Knoxville, dude, before he actually took off. It was at a small venue. It might have been a side concert, but you want to talk about energy. You want to talk about, like, yeah, I understand why he was as big as he was at the height of his career, Rhett. That was a cool concert to be a part of, man. I went front. Real cool. And
I like how Darrington went old school in the middle of that there with Shy-Lights. And listen, any of that old Philadelphia or Chicago soul from the 60s, early 70s, I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Just different, Rhett, for sure, man. We'll talk more tomorrow about the Texans and Titans too, huh?
Oh, we'll have plenty of time to do that. About the fastest 4 hours in radio.
Hey, man. And you brought up a fact, too. This weekend's a big scheduling weekend for the teams that are playing this weekend also, Rhett.
Oh, absolutely. Indianapolis is at Buffalo. You've got the Cowboys heading to Arrowhead to play the Chiefs. There's some really good games this weekend.
It is. Bears and Ravens going to see how that work out for them. And, again, Bengals and Raiders. I mean, it was Bears, Ravens, and Bengals and Raiders, too.
Yes. And then your Steelers go to SoFi and play the Chargers. I'm interested in that.
I know, because we don't.
And then Green Bay plays Minnesota. I'm always interested in those old NFC North battles, the black and blue division.
You brought up the Colts-Bills. You got your eye on that one, too, Rhett.
Oh, yes. Big time. You know what else we have an eye on?
Talk to me, Rhett.
The phones, because on the phone is the man we always need at this point on a Wednesday, getting through the week with the midweek motivation, the great Inky Johnson. Inky, take it away, sir. What do you have for us this morning?
Great is exactly what he is, Rhett.
My guys, man, first and foremost, I want to say it's an extreme honor and privilege to be on. But I want to start us off with a quote. It reads, "The people we admire for exhibiting excellence are not the people who are perfect or the people who succeed every time. They are the people who recognize that the road to achieving every goal is paved with victory and defeat. The triumphant are celebrated not because they win every time, but because they never quit when they lose. We are more resilient than we could ever imagine. Keep going." And so my press for people, especially young people, when I'm always talking to them is, hey, man, develop your character, right? Understand that everything is interconnected. Experiences, people, up moments, down moments, successes, what we may consider to be failure. Always cultivate your character, right? And so I was sharing an example last week about the team that I spoke to, and right before I spoke to them, the Gatorade bottle that was on the floor, right, of guys just stepping over it, telling me their goals, their dreams, and their aspirations. And when I walked into the room, I took the Gatorade bottle that all the guys stepped over in their facility. I took it in the room before I went to speak to the guys. And I just asked them a simple question, right? Y'all said y'all going to be great. Y'all said y'all are going to accomplish, right? And they're, yeah, man, we're going to crush it. I said, how you going to be great if you're not even picking up a Gatorade bottle that's in your facility. Now, one would say, what's the significance of the Gatorade bottle? These guys can run a 40-yard dash in 4.3 seconds, right? They can lift this. They bench press this. They can do this. What's the significance of a Gatorade bottle, right? It's character. If you don't value every element and every space and place in this facility, how will you be great? If you're not faithful over a few, one day how will you be ruler over many? Because there's so many people in the world that are talented, that are skillful, skill set through the roof, right? But their talent always sends them to a place that their character can't sustain them. People don't burn out, quit, and underachieve because of what they do and because they're not talented enough. But they get to a certain point to where their talent is incredible. But if they haven't been developing their character can't sustain them. It's not about making it to the top. It's about having a character to sustain and stay at the top. That's my time. Blessings. Thank you.